Stocks a little change here to start things off so far this morning. Cautious approach ahead of CPI data, inflation print alert coming up at 8:30 this morning. We'll get the latest reading on inflation, which, given what is going on in the world, could be an interesting day for the overall market. Oil back to the upside. More headlines coming out of the Middle East in general, but regarding the tensions around this war that are suggesting things might not be as finalized or complete as we were led to believe late in the day yesterday. That caused a big rally in both stocks itself and then a big sell-off for oil. We'll talk on that coming up. Oracle, the big mover individually this morning to the upside in a pretty big way here on the back of a really, really good earnings report. Impressive numbers right across the board here, gapping to the upside on top of what happened after the close yesterday. We're getting a nice little uptick here at the moment. Some of the energy names not doing a heck of a lot, but I was just reading Bank of America. There's a couple other analysts coming out saying, everybody hold on. Everybody hold on. We're not sure that things are as wrapped up as I mentioned.
Yeah, it's quite interesting today, Brendo, especially with the holdout in the Republican Party. I think it's Tom Tillis. He doesn't want to advance the Kevin Warsh nomination. So this whole inflation thing is so convoluted from many angles. I just want to mention one thing real quick. NVIDIA is going to invest $2 billion in Nebius, NBIS, and it's rocketing up on that news, up 8%. So something to watch out for there for the market movers.
Another day, another NVIDIA deal.
Yeah, another
shocking.
Another $2 billion thrown around. There's a whole lot to talk about, though. I mean, there's no shortage here. KMX up nicely here in the pre-market. CarMax on the back of possible investment here by Starboard Capital, looking to take an activist look there. AV, one of Neil's picks, reported earnings after the bell yesterday is down 10 1/3, but they were very bullish. I was telling Sean off camera, they were extremely bullish on the call. But Sean, obviously pointing out, not bullish enough, Brendo, because we're down 10 1/3 here, but management sounded very exuberant.
I don't know what you would have to say at this point to really get the market to like anything really, but NBIS, absolute rocket ship right now. Still moving on that NVIDIA headline. Just real quick, here's what's expected as far as the inflation data is coming at again 8:30 if you missed it. 0.3 was the prior, if you remember. We are expecting a downtick, which could be dangerous given what's happening. 0.2% is the expected month-over-month number. Core inflation on the year-over-year, 2.5%. That is expected to come out exactly in line with expectations or flat. 2.4 on the prior headline number. 2.4 again expected for this one. But the month-over-month, we are expecting a slight downtick, so we'll see what happens.
I've been reading a lot of articles specifically around AI and how they're expecting AI to be deflationary. But a lot of the analysts are saying, look, it's not going to be deflationary in the short term. You can't look at it on a month-to-month print. What we mean by deflationary is over the long term, the intermediate term, the longer term, 3, 4, 5-year outlook, because costs going to go down, hiring comes down. If hiring comes down, then there's not as much money to spend in the free market, right? So then prices tend to drop a little bit because demand drops. So it should be interesting to see if that actually leads to deflation. But a lot's been made about that in the short term, and I don't think that's going to happen.
And the other side of that argument, which all of these companies seem to be leaning on really heavily, is the more production, the efficiency side of things that they're saying, yes, we may lose some jobs, but the output is going to be exponentially higher, which could or should offset that. But let's see what happens. So, I mean, a lot to come in the next hour alone. But again, if you're just joining this one, taking the headlines so far this morning, NBIS, that is now a $8 move, straight higher on a $100 stock here, teaming up with NVIDIA. Good morning, guys.
It's funny. Brennan started and said, what does the market want to see have these stocks go up? And I think the word NVIDIA, works for now. And then there goes NBIS up 10%, and it's a good call. I actually heard it in my ear just as we went on air. And it's only a $2 billion investment. I mean, we've seen CoreWeave, Nebius, a lot of these companies take money from NVIDIA and the likes, and there it goes upside again. And it looks like it wants to break this 110. So congratulations on Nebius dip buyers into the 200 period moving average, because here we go again, man. And I actually wanted to look at, I was talking to this about Sharif, because, AVAV, Aero Environment, obviously we mentioned it. here on the show a couple times. You're down here into $200 today. And I said to Sharif, this is back to May of 24 levels right now, if we go back as far as we can here on this trade. Like drones and the way this, like they build these kamikaze drones, which basically just target areas and just run right into them and blow up, basically some of those videos that you've been seeing online and whatnot. And I think that, you know, despite what we see with, you know, this heavy artillery, I mean, there's always going to be need for that. I wonder if AVAV, and again, their numbers weren't the greatest, and we're going to go over them. They missed on the top and the bottom line, which is why it's down 10%. I did not hear the call, but apparently something relatively bullish talk here on the call about backlogs and everything with the government. So, I don't know, man, I'm in Palantir, and this name to me, and I mean, we just looked, it's too bad because when I announced Big Bear AI as a pick, it's the only one that we're down on, and also this AVAV, it was just kind of near the top, and a lot of these names have come right back in. So I'm wondering if this is potentially a great buy the dip opportunity here on Aero Environment coming in today at this $200 mark right now. So we'll see if it can hold that. But yeah, welcome, Obi. I'm taking a little bit of a more cautious play here because we have CPI at 8:30. Yeah. So I don't know if I want to write down any levels yet on what like big names to look at. Obviously, we're going to be looking at Oracle today. I think that's going to be exciting to trade. I put a note out there. Oil's kind of, right now we'll have to wait for a move.
Same story as yesterday. Gonna have to wait for some sort of news, some sort of developments to come out to take scalps off of USO there on the crude oil trade. I'm watching this NBIS, pretty interesting there. Partner to scale full stack AI cloud with NVIDIA and trading above, I guess, some weekly resistance I'm seeing at 110.50s. It's at 106s here. Not too much volume just yet, but again, the news just came out, so just shy of 1 million shares traded here I have on board. But yeah, Oracle definitely on watch. Absolutely crazy move there in the blue ocean session. As well. We almost got up to 170. There was actually, funny enough, there was a buyer that was here. I'll pull up the chart. We can talk about it. It was actually pretty crystal clear kind of action here on Oracle last night. So this here is a 5-minute chart. You can see here. Let's just go down to the 1 minute because this is really where it kind of started to happen. You know, VWAP in and around here, 162.50s is a stack of like 5,000 shares, and then they just started chasing it up 10,000 shares. It was around like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Look at that move after hours.
Look at this move. There was 10,000 shares just chasing it up, and sometimes just not getting filled. Right, and then it's just, obviously traders are going to front run that, pushing it even higher and higher. 169.38 was the high there, and then at around around 10 o'clock, 10:45-ish, we got that pullback. 9:45, we got that pullback there into VWAP, and then settling down after around 10 o'clock. So. Great move on Oracle. I don't know if it's gonna get back to 170 in the open session, but there was definitely some solid demand there. It kind of makes sense. They had a pretty solid report, forward outlook.
Yeah, nothing wrong with their report, I don't think. We'll get some comments later. We know. I see Adara already in the chat talking a little bit about Oracle, so we'll see. And it's up 10%, so we'll see what happens here today with ORCL, again, off the back of a decent report. All right, well, better than decent, obviously, as finally some good news for them. All right, oil, there it is, man. We said it wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot, and it's up 5%. Is it doing something? Sure, it's trying to go, and it's trying to break through right now this $87 mark. So we're trying to hold out right now. Hey, it's Randy, and he's got some clementines. Are those pears?
Thank you, Randy.
Ooh. Pears, we like that one. Right there, 87.50 right here. So we're gonna see if we can break through that. It looks like we are trending a little higher here. So I think I'm gonna write down USO long at some point today for the oil trade. They're cutting reserves. you know, this Strait of Hormuz doesn't seem to be settled anytime soon, or won't be settled anytime soon. Some fake reports and then some real reports, and we're just going to wait to see where it goes from here. But I actually like this trade, breaking now through 87 and trying to go a little longer. Could probably take this even right now. You and I talked about this yesterday. You know, the markets are open. It doesn't really, don't have to wait for 9:30. The thing is, with CPI coming through, you know, that could be, as an inflation print, could definitely affect the move here in oil, right? I mean, it won't affect the supply side, but it'll affect the demand side. So we'll see what's going on there. And then I'm noticing this too today, man. Another mover right here, silver, Obi, downside right now. That's trying to break a little lower here right now as well. See if we can get back into the 76 area where there might be some buyers. But right now, 78 and change for silver. And that's looking like it wants to go a little lower there as well. But yeah, look, a few things to trade. Not too many on the equity side of things. What I'm seeing right now, we do have some Amazon news there. They're raising another 40 billion or so in the debt market. Will Bloomberg Terminal, thanks David Clark, will Bloomberg Terminal get it wrong on future PPI, CPI, NVIDIA, and technology? Will NVIDIA and technology trend up past the future Bloomberg Terminal, PPI, and CPI? Past the future Bloomberg Terminal. Why are we talking about Bloomberg Terminals here? Will Bloomberg Terminal get it wrong? What are they predicting here? I mean, we could, I haven't really looked at what people are thinking about here. PPI, CPI, NVIDIA, I think this is what we're looking at today. Will NVIDIA and technology trend up past the future Bloomberg Terminal, PPI and CPI? All right, so with the inflation prints today, we will have to see where they come in, hot or not. That used to be a website, I think. I already said to Sharif, I think NVIDIA and tech is about to enter a little bit of a bullish phase here. Tech names are generally thought of as defensive plays. All right, these guys are sitting on, you know, unbelievable amounts of cash. We know where the world's going. The revenues are through the roof. Obviously, the capex, they're spending a lot, they're raising a lot, and their PEs now are getting to be a little reasonable, considering how could you have Walmart's PE at 45 and Amazon at 25? So you there's something about what we're doing right now in tech land that I believe we are getting ready to start to go again. And you can trade the Roundhill ETF, the MAGs. You can trade individual names like an Amazon or a Google, which I tend to think is the best of them all. But there's been a little bit of depression in these stock prices, and I believe it's about time. So I want to sort of start to, you know, ring the bell here on possible, you know, Mag 7 type buys happening now. I just think they've been beat up a little bit too much. So that's what I think, David Clark. And if that's what your sort of convoluted message was leaning towards, yes, and I do believe that the future is strong in the tech plays, regardless of what these inflation numbers will print. But yeah, they'll lead the way today anyways. I know you look at the CPI, of course, and we'll just wait to see how.
Yeah, we'll wait to see how it comes out here.
You're very focused over there, I noticed.
Yeah, no, I'm in this. I don't think the position board is.
Oh, you're in something.
Is updated here. I'm just trying to, you know, just to get a feel for this NBIS here as it continues to hold up pretty nicely. We'll see if it holds this 105 area as of right now. 105 halves, I think I have the anchored in and around 104s as well. But yeah, no, just new developing news, pretty interesting stuff here with NBIS. I already saw some people kind of talking about it last, I think was it last night or earlier this morning on a post that is it NBIS and a couple other names may be interesting with NVIDIA here. Okay, David Clark, I am no longer questioning NVIDIA and technology. Okay, all right. I never really questioned them.
I like NVIDIA. I like all these names. So I think, David, you are onto something right there today. So we have 30 minutes. 15 minutes. If you guys grab our watch list today, you're going to see it right onto here. It's out already, by the way, completely free, FREE. Here it is right here. Core, maybe we can zoom in just a bit. Here it goes. Core CPI coming out 8:30. It's all in here, right? And then we got little Feds Bowman going to be coming through as well. So the numbers are right here. We'll figure out, what the expectations are. We've got them right there. You asked us, so they're in here, pretty close to what was prior. Excuse me, the year over year for February, 2.5, the month over month, a little lower there as well, 0.2 versus 0.3. But that's what we're looking for right now, the 2.4 to 2.5 number here on the CPI for February year over year, right? So I'm looking at the core. We'll include X autos and things like that, but you're just gonna watch out for the CPI print coming out at 8:30, and will reflect the numbers in the Fed rate watch tool, which is now, Obi, 1 week away. Okay. So where will you be 7 days, 5 hours, 44 minutes from now? I know where I will be, sitting here talking with all of y'all about no rate cut whatsoever. 99.3, I don't know if the last time, how much closer to 100 can you get right here? 99.3% chance of absolutely nothing happening. But that's not what it's about, right? It's about the talk, what's been scratched, what they're talking about moving forward, what the expectations are in the upcoming meetings. As now, actually, didn't I hear Sharif and Brendan something about how, I think you just mentioned some dissent there, that Warsh is getting a little bit of,
pushback.
Pushback, good word. I was going to say fireback. I don't know if that was the right word there, but pushback on that nomination. Is that what you guys are hearing as well back there?
Yeah, I don't think there's a very good reason for it at this point. It just seems like, with everything else going on, they're taking their time to make sure they delay it as long as possible, potentially. But we're coming up to the second last one here. So, time's ticking.
I forget the name of the senator. It's eluding me at the moment, but he did meet with Kevin Warsh yesterday on a personal basis, and basically came out and said really nothing that Kevin Warsh can say is going to, alleviate his concern. Yeah. Because his concern is less with the individual and more about the process of nomination. I'm assuming here his objections to this are the independence of the Fed, and he feels possibly that Kevin Warsh won't be as independent as one should be and will likely take directions for President Trump. I'm assuming that that's what it is. We'll have to wait and see whether he's able to be persuaded one way or another. But a Republican holdout obviously creates a little bit of trouble because you have to assume the Democrats are going to be pushing back as well.
How much of this is semantics, though, at this point? And, it's just the process that we're going to go through here. But, time's ticking. We'll see. May is right around the corner for our friend Fed Chair Powell. We're going to miss him. I'm going to miss those press conferences.
Yeah. Good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And the market tanks.
Yeah.
Amazon chopping around here this morning. Nothing big as far as headlines for Amazon today, but there was some rumblings late in the day yesterday about Anthropic specifically coming to market sooner than later. I did read a note last night, later on in the evening, regarding a hedge fund that has completely sold their position in Microsoft in favor of Amazon. And it seemed like, they didn't come out and say it, but it seemed like it was ahead of this potential Anthropic IPO.
Interesting.
And as you've seen the narrative around OpenAI kind of shift towards Anthropic in the last couple of months, or even 6 to 8 months, you got to wonder. It's not a bad idea.
No, and I think that, Sean just mentioned the PE for Amazon relative to Walmart. Obviously, that's not the angle for Amazon that we're taking, but the point is it's kind of trading relatively cheaply. I know 25 is not historically cheap, but not a bad look. And we also know Bill Ackman has very aggressive concentrated risk in that, so he's not the only one. With respect to this story, Amazon wins an early court ruling against Perplexity's new AI browser. I think it's called Comet AI browser. So a U.S. federal judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking Perplexity's Comet AI browser from accessing Amazon's website. Amazon had filed a lawsuit in California, Brendo, claiming Perplexity deliberately concealed the identity of its automated agents so they could scrape the retailer's site despite restrictions. And we all know how angry these tech companies get when you mess around with their API.
I can confirm that is indeed true. I've actually been using Comet the past couple of weeks, and it's different, but it's not bad. It's very, very quick. And it gives you essentially they call it the assistant, but it gives you essentially Perplexity in the right panel. and then your normal web search in the main panel. But no, it does. It goes and looks for links and stuff like that. So they're absolutely doing that. But I mean, I think this is going to end up being a multi-horse race. It is not going to be, you know, 1 or even 2 or 3. This is going to be 4 or 5 or 6.
I hate to draw these parallels because it dates me and it makes me look archaic, but don't you remember the early days of the internet? Lycos, Excite, Web Crawler, what else am I thinking? Yahoo. There was just a plethora of them. Then, I mean, does anybody really use anything other than Google now?
No one, literally
and so yeah, I totally see this as just, you know, normal progression, then you right size later.
On that, let's get some options idea with Joe.
How about Ask Jeeves, Sharif? All right, that was in my early days. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday. We're going to kick things off, guys, with a name that reported after the bell yesterday, and that's going to be Oracle. A substantial move here, guys, with open interest, and this is going to be leading on next week's expiration cycle. So there's going to be some interesting things that we're going to touch on here momentarily. So open interest, this is going to be the largest out of this week and next week's expiration cycle, 34,200 contracts at that specific zone, 170 that is, and then the volume around 9,090. So that's nothing horrible whatsoever, and 9, sorry. But I mean, what weapon? All right, anyways. Okay, so once again, next Friday is the expiration cycle, and then we got a $15 spread there. I'm gonna suspect that these contracts are gonna jump just due to the fact that this is taken after the right around the close. So the factor and the increase within these contracts isn't in yet. Okay, so Delta sitting on that 22 metric. That's gonna probably be closer to at the money now, and then we'll see the increase in the contracts after the bell, and then your at the money IV sitting around 90.7%. All right, so you're going to see the implied volatility kick in off of that earnings report. Now, as for NVDA, we were talking about this open interest sitting around 266,000. That's substantial. Okay, this is some of the largest open interest that I've personally seen, especially on this name. And even if you go a couple strike price lower, you're going to see 100,000, 134,000. I mean, that's almost double. So there's a very large amount of size at this $200 mark, expiring not this Friday, next Friday. Okay, and we're sitting on a $2 spread. Remember on the short discussion that we had yesterday on intrinsic and extrinsic value, understand what you're trying to achieve when you are trading your options contracts. Your delta metric, considering it's so far out of the money, it's sitting around 12, that's nothing substantial, and you have very little gamma exposure as well too. So at the money IV, 44.5%, that's nothing substantial. So I mean, that's relatively I would say modest for NVDA, and we're just kind of sitting around the norm. So not too bad of a look there. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Right. Yeah, thanks, Joe. I wanted to go over here and see what you guys were looking to trade today. I put it out here on Twitterverse. Good morning, CPI out at 8:30. So we're going to figure out what to trade early here. Everyone's going short, so I guess I'm going to go long, says Al Tony. I think that might be a good one. What's up, Sebastian? Hope you're doing well. Short day today, silver, oil, gold. I think that's something that Obi and I sort of identified already. AMD and CRML, so we like that from GIM. And then Aaron going sort of chalk here, AMD, NVIDIA, and oil. That's kind of my playlist almost every day, it seems like these days. So, but yeah, good little look there on the options plays. Upgrades and downgrades will be later. We'll get that going. Uber with a deal with Zook, right there, ZOOX. I put K in the chat. Teaming up, getting robo-taxis in Las Vegas. Obi. So the next time you're in Las Vegas, you can grab an Uber, and it could possibly be a robo-taxi. So that came through there, and you get a nice little move up there for Uber now, up 4%, and trying to battle off some of the bottoms there as well for Uber. I mean, this is where I think Uber can, look, I mean, it's been bad. I own this name, and it's been long in the portfolio for quite a while. But at the end of the day, it's not really performing that well right here in this environment. Another name that I think can participate in the tech bounce that I think is about to happen. So I do like Uber down here at some of these levels. $70 seems to be good to me. But again, like you're catching the falling knife a lot of the time here with some of these names. I didn't actually even look at what Uber's PE is. The fact that Marvell's PE is 24, I can't. I think the best stock right now in the market is Marvell. So, all right, here's Uber right now, 21 forward PE on Uber, current PE of just 15. So like, honestly, these guys are still, in my opinion, a growth name. There still is a lot of opportunity. I know it's a pretty mature company, but I think they can grow into the robo-taxi space. I think they can, you know, like you said, the deal with Zook, the deal with Waymo eventually, with hopefully something happening with Elon Musk and robo-taxis. That's really the fear, is that nothing happens there at all. And Elon just releases an app, undercuts Uber prices, and everybody loves the robo-taxi and stops taking Ubers. So I guess there is a downside play for Uber. This is not a name that I'm going to be buying any dips in, but a name that I still continue to hold and don't plan on selling. But Uber there up 4%. And I don't know, what do you think about the future of Uber?
I think if they adapt well to the whole self-driving thing, I think they definitely have a pretty strong future there. But yeah, no, I don't have really any strong opinions on it. I haven't looked at the chart. I guess until now, since it got that spike, going on the watch list for sure now. But let's take a look at what it's doing on I guess a higher frame right here. This chart will load. Maybe this chart here.
What is that, Uber?
I don't know, it's kind of lagging right now. Okay, yeah, here we go. So we can go to a weekly. Yeah, let's see where it's gapping up into 75.10s in the pre-market here. Okay, so I guess my stuff is frozen right now. So we can take a look at some of those a little bit later. NBIS, I kind of gave it back to break even here. Now we're breaking out of those 107s, those pre-market highs as of right now. So it seems like, you know, not the best there. I did have a risk down into like 105 halves, and I saw that it wasn't really doing too much, but wasn't willing to hold on to it. Unfortunate, comes into 107s. You can see some size showing up at that 107s as of right now here. NBIS, that is on the Nasdaq. So there you go. So let's throw on a little bit of a size filter there so we can get a look-see at some of that size at 107. So a few thousand shares, nothing too crazy in the pre-market right now. Last time I mentioned it was doing about 1 million. Now it's doing about 2 million shares. So we'll see how the story unfolds as the day goes on here. Charts are okay. I have the weekly chart on now, but okay, cool. Yeah, let's see where this is standing. Well, I do have some, I guess some levels marked off from a little earlier here. Where are we sitting right here? So we did kind of break this trend I have drawn on here from about January of 2023. Pretty strong trend. Yeah, technically kind of broken, but if you look at trend, higher highs and higher lows, we're still technically making higher lows, even on this bit of a bounce here. So prior resistance sitting at 78 and some change. We'll see if that comes into fruition today on this Uber news. As of right now, there goes 107 on NBIS. This is, interestingly enough, Sean, it pulled back to its anchored VWAP quite nicely in and around here, right where I got out. This should be an add, if anything, the hold of that 104s and some change, and then 105 consolidation and a push towards 107. So decent move there, but kind of fumbled the ball there to start off the game on the day today. So we'll see. Where's the next trade is what I'm asking. And NBIS definitely giving us some good opportunities as of right now. There's some size on the bid chasing it up as well. Let's drop this down to 1,000 right here so we can kind of see that size a little bit better. But yeah, 108s, 109s.
I mean, nothing wrong with looking at names that are active,
yeah.
You know, I mean,
exactly.
And, you know, taking a swing and a miss sometimes will happen, and we'll be back in. And that's why, you know, like you were saying, you don't put up too much risk here in the pre-market as these names go around. All right, Brendan, Sharif, we got 30 seconds. So why don't we go up to you guys now and get ready for the CPI print, looking at 2.5.
Yeah, we'll have a look here at what we are expecting. First off, as you mentioned, just under 30 seconds to go here, 0.3%. Again, on the month-over-month core number expected, 2.5 for core inflation on the year-over-year number. The headline number expected to be 2.4%. All of those exactly in line with expectations. The only one to be careful of here is the month-over-month number. On the core side of things, expected to see a little bit of a downtick in the current environment. Again, that could be a bit of a challenge, but we'll wait and see how these come out. Again, the past couple of these prints, we've seen a 0.1% up, 0.1% down kind of a move, really nothing significant. There's the headline number, 2.4% was the headline number, so exactly in line with expectation. Core inflation actually lower, so 0.2%, which is in line with expectations, but again, a 0.1% decline on the month-over-month basis. So that's good, 2.5% on the year-over-year number for core inflation. Again, exactly in line with expectations, guys. How's the market?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could come back here and say the market was doing anything important here, but as an expected number comes out there, as you mentioned, 2.525 year over year, and I see month over month as 3 versus 3 there as well. So basically, as expected, all over the place. So what does the SPY do? This right there, nothing. Yeah, I was just looking at it here, what I see on, so Brendan just said core was down slightly. So yeah, I mean, I guess the slight number down gives us a little bit of a bump up into their 678. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's literally a absolute nothing burger. So we can go ahead and start to now work on our sticky note because it doesn't look like the market really wants to do anything right here, Obi. It's good to see that everything's in line pretty much as expected there. So we don't get any like war kind of, threat on the CPI number. But remember, it still is backdated. It's almost like the next CPI print will have more of the effect of oil and, some of these commodity prices. Gas and all that kind of stuff baked into that print, not this current print. So this one coming out as expected right here. I'm not seeing anything worthy of a talk there. CPI 2.4 versus 2.4 year over year. I'm seeing as well. So yeah. Not much for me. Is there any stocks that are catching your eyes right now?
No, nothing crazy. I'm just seeing that the Nasdaq. Yeah, we were talking about that. How we've just been chopping around that 25K mark. Yeah, even on that CPI, nothing crazy happening here. So yeah, I'm curious to know what's happening in some other places. The NBIS moving around. Uber might be something a little bit later. Yeah, there's
the story that Brendan was mentioning there. I just found it on our headline board there. So actual 2 versus 3. So that's a little bit of a bigger number there. And here is, and I'll push this up as well. There it is. U.S. Thanks, Fabian, for building this, by the way. Here's the core CPI year over year. So 2.5 versus 2.5, previous 2.5. So what's your favorite number? 25. And a big shout out to Bam Adebayo yesterday. I thought I woke up and it was a joke. Don't worry about this, Obi. I got this. Okay. He's plays for the Miami Heat. He's a basketball player. Yes. And I didn't even realize that he last night, even as this was happening, he dropped 83 points, the second most in NBA history, surpassing, obviously, the great Kobe Bryant, who dropped 82 on the Raptors' head a few years before he retired. So shout out to Wilt Chamberlain, still holding the record. I believe it's 125 points or something for Wilt Chamberlain, something ridiculous like that. But congratulations to the fans of the Miami Heat and Bam Adebayo. And I also want to say congratulations to the #1 baseball nation in the world, Italy. They beat the United States yesterday, 8-6 in Houston. I didn't even know Italy had a baseball team. And they just took down #2 ranked, although Neil said they're #1 ranked. I believe Japan right now, #1 ranked. But anyways, crazy. That's what can show you. Anything can happen in sports. Even the USA hockey team can beat the Canadian hockey team. All right, with that being said, let's go back over the desk before I get hate on the chat. But yeah, what a wild day for sports, man. Yesterday, absolutely crazy. Oh, I did see, Sharif, that we had Ronda Rousey versus...
Yes.
What do you think about... Is that going to be boxing or that's
Jake Paul's
MMA?
doing that.
Is that MMA?
I think it's boxing, right, Joey? Are they boxing? I saw it yesterday, Sean. I think Jake Paul's organizing it as
well, he's the only one that pays female fighters, so it's good for that. And then I saw he wants to fight Francis Ngannou.
That would be a great fight, actually. Given, look, Joshua knocks out Ngannou, right? And then, well, Jake Paul goes, I don't want to say the distance, but he goes a few rounds with Anthony Joshua. So I wouldn't mind seeing that.
That guy's a monster.
He is a monster. He's a big guy. In boxing, though, not MMA.
Right, which he switched to.
He switched to.
Going back a year or two ago. We're getting on time here. Let's bring in Luis. He's standing by, waiting patiently, and we'll talk about some small cap ideas for today. Good to see you as always, Luis. It's been a busy week as far as these are concerned. A couple moving around already this morning. DOMO, a few people mentioning already. I'm sure you've been looking at this one.
Yeah, we have been looking at this one, as you say. It is not the typical stock that we like because, first of all, the catalyst is an earnings play, so it's about earnings today, and we don't like either because it has 85% institutional ownership, so it is very likely that it will trade different as the way we like. Saying that, we will short this one in front of VWAP. Sorry, I get a lot of fan on the chat because I say VWAP because I'm Spanish, you know. So
don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Go for it.
No, it's okay. It's a way to improve. So we will short this against VWAP, and if it goes over VWAP and pre-market highs, we will avoid because, as I say, earnings play, it's not our expertise, and it has 85% institutional ownership. It's like a big red flag for us.
Why don't you just double click on that just real quick? What does that mean exactly for anyone hearing that term for the first time? And why would it affect, the price action once the market opens?
Well, it means that 85% of the float is owned by institutionals. So it is not free to buy and sell, let's say, so easy as the free float. So if they want to sell or buy more stock, they have to do some requirements to the SEC and so on. So it's not free float. That means the float is lower and it's more manipulative movement. It is not so much up and down, so much noise, as we like to call, in the movement of the stocks. When you have over 50, 60% institutional ownership, the movements are more linear. It is not so much fighting bids and offers and buying and selling. So we try to avoid this kind of movements.
On the small cap side of things, typically the liquidity ends up being or lack thereof maybe, ends up being the biggest driver of the day. What else is on your list here? What are you looking at this morning?
We have some tickers. Beside DOMO, we have CYN, this one. Very interesting. We are shorting this against previous resistance, 210, 220. We will short against these levels. And if you go to the chart, we have a very important level to short against there. As you can see here, 210 to 20, we will short. We have already short this one against this level, and we will do it again if it goes back at that price. And also, it's very important. We check the data, as you know, always, and this has almost 80% red close probability over 23 gaps up since 2020. So that gives you a lot of confidence that if it's gapping up over 20%, it will close red from the open 80% of the times. And if you are shorting against resistance, you are adding more probability on your sides,
So when you say that 80% of the time you get a red close on this specific name on a gap higher, is there a minimum threshold you're looking at there? If it's 2% or 1.5%, that's just a pass, correct?
Well, yeah, it's a pass, but let's say that we always backtest gaps over 20%, and the statistics says around 60-65% of the gappers up over 20%, they close red from the open. Okay, so if it's over the 60%, you are above the average, and if you are below the 60%, you are below the average of gapping up, closing red or green during the day. So in this case, it's 15 points over the average. So it gives you even more confidence than the 66-65% that already closed red.
A few other names moving around here. One that's been on a multi-day run here, ACXP. Any thoughts on this one? I mean, it had a initial pop a couple of days ago.
It was very interesting yesterday, by the way. It's a trade that we call BWAP Reclaim, and we have a movement up, okay, against these previous pre-market highs. As you can see, we have a lot of movement when the market opened against this previous resistance. You could short it there, of course, but check this. During the day, the volume just dropped dramatically, but the price hold pretty nice, the VWAP. Okay, so if the price is holding VWAP for 2, 3, 4 hours, the price is not fading, the volume is very low. At some moment, shorts are gonna get stuck. As the day goes by, they need to close because probably they will not want or they will not be able because of compliance to hold overnight, because of the risk it has to hold short in a small cap overnight, they will have to close. So when we reclaim the VWAP, when we beat the VWAP again on the way up, this is a very tricky moment for shorts. They start to close. Look at this huge volume here closing against highs of the day. And again, after market, it breaks and it goes, it goes, it goes. Today, we expected this to run overnight because shorts were getting stuck and longs take the control of the stock. And now we will short it only if it fights VWAP. We are waiting for a pop here, 350, 360, and short against this resistance.
Luis, when you see that sustained volume over a couple of days and the stock still holding higher, holding higher, holding higher, on the short side, that's got to be a red flag initially when you're looking at something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to look for confirmations. If it's trading below pre-market highs, if it's getting lower and lower volume from previous day, it's better to go short. If the volume is holding and the price is holding, there might be something that we don't know in the company. It's not always about about technical analysis, about the small cap microstructure of the movement. Sometimes it's really fundamentals behind. Maybe this company has something very important and it's gonna keep going higher for days or weeks or months. So at some moment, if the stock keep holding for days, we forget about the microstructure of the small caps and we just look for fundamentals.
And that usually ends up being the time where you get that really nice final, day where it just gives up and you get the huge retracement.
Yeah, it's like a multi-day play and you wait. And probably when all the volume goes to other stocks or other sectors, you look for this crazy fade. We have seen it in the commodities lately, silver and now in the oil, of course. So it's the same in the stocks.
Anything else top of your mind here this morning?
Yeah, we have this NXPL today. We are shorting this one against this previous resistance, 70, 75. Okay, there was a nice short. This is not in the non-compliant bid price, so that means they are not asked by the Security and Exchange Commission or Nasdaq regulators to go over $1. They don't have this, so it's a good way to short against this resistance. And on the other side, we have SCNX. This one, it has bid price compliance, so they have to go over $1. Let me check dates. I think it was 20th of April or something like that, but they have only 1 month to go over $1. So if this stock is holding above this resistance, it might check the dollar to regain this compliance requirement. We have an example yesterday. It was LGVN, I think. Oh, look at this. It was short. It was popping over this resistance, 65.70 cents. And when we read the headlines, they had bid price requirement for 23rd of March. So they only have a couple of weeks to get over $1. So there it goes, 60, 70 cents to over $1 during the day.
Great stuff. Great insight as always. Luis Barbato joining us from the Real Trading Office over in Barcelona. Luis back with us at lunchtime once again with the guys on the midday show. We'll see you then.
I will be back and we have some news. As we spoke yesterday, we can talk about it in the afternoon. It will be great.
Definitely. Thanks, Luis.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's run through some of the analyst actions here before we have a special guest, I believe. So let's start things off with some downgrades, guys. AVAV getting its price target lowered from $400 to $350 by Citizens. And then we have CCL, Carnival Cruise Lines here, $40 to $35. You can see that we're all negative. AVAV down almost over 10% here this morning. Coles reporting yesterday, Robert W. Baird also giving them the downgrade here, guys, $24 to 20 with a neutral rating as well. And Lululemon, the Canadian company, down roughly 0.4%, getting its price target lowered to $184. Now, moving forward, Oracle up a staggering 10% this morning, guys. Price target increase from $313 to $319. And then we have NEO as well, to neutral to a buy. INTU also getting the nod, guys, down 0.1%. Price target being low, increased from $670 to $700. And then we have AT&T with a price target increase to $28, going from a sell to a neutral weight, guys.
All right, let's jump right in here to a conversation with Raheem is here. We'll go from one to the next here. It's been a busy week as far as energy is concerned. It's been a busy week for you. Going back to last week on the mining side of things, give me your quick PDAC wrap up here. How are you feeling, first of all?
Feeling great.
Enough sleep?
And caught up on sleep.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Caught up on sleep on the weekend, despite some elevator issues at our place. Caught up on sleep and caught up with emails from the entire week. People are like, I emailed you. I'm like, you emailed during PDAC. Like, there's no chance of getting back to you. But we've caught up on life, caught up on everything, and it was a great week here in Toronto.
If you had to sum it up as far as, compared to maybe the last couple or the last, 2 or 3, as far as opportunities maybe go,
right,
what would you say?
I think there are a couple of clear delineations on this PDAC relative to post. First, we haven't had a sentiment like this in probably a dozen years. There were people from all over the world, and just so everyone knows, it's the largest mining conference in the world. 40,000 people come into Toronto, and the sentiment was extremely buoyant. There were obviously the funny guys who were like, yeah, I was finally right about the thing that I called 6 years ago. A broken clock gets to be right twice a day, and because gold's gone up to 5,000, obviously his gold company has gone up, and he thinks it's because of him. So, let's take those people out of the equation. A lot of buoyancy, a lot of opportunity, a lot of money being raised, M&A. The thing that was different this year, though, in terms of the country presence that came in, and the U.S. I haven't seen a presence this big from the U.S. in quite some time, and I know we've talked about it here. The Exim banks, Department of War, Department of Energy, that are making investments into mining companies, into the MP Materials of the world, and they're going into Canadian companies now. They're going to UK companies even. So the American delegation was bigger than I've ever seen. There was one breakfast that they had with the ambassador and the director of the National Security Council. Department of War, Exim Bank, DFC, and just the audience that came in from the mining community that wanted to hear what the U.S. was doing was really great to hear as well, because for us it's great because they're our neighbors to the south.
For sure. And
if they're now investing in mining and putting that kind of capital to use versus, call it, say, China, who in the past was as aggressive. So it's good to see that there's a different balance and a new paradigm that's coming.
Good. So maybe we'll dig into individual opportunities or individual names coming out of PDAC in the next a couple of weeks here. Let's talk energy, though. It's been top of mind, obviously, for the past couple of weeks here, given what is going on from a macro scale. Again, if you're just joining, what we heard late in the day yesterday turns out not necessarily as positive, maybe, as the market thought it should be. We come in this morning, looks like the Strait of Hormuz has not only has it not been resolved, but it might even be getting worse at this point. So give me your high-level thoughts here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, you listen to different people, and I'm surprised that there's just that many different opinions on exactly what's going to happen next, because nobody knows. I was with some people last week that are politically associated, and they're like, oh, this thing will be done in a couple of days, and a couple of days have gone. They're like, just give it a couple more days, right, and then a couple more days. And so we don't actually know, like none of us obviously know, but to see that oil is sometimes going and it's not going to go, and then the strait's open and then it's not open, and it's all going to be finished and it's not. So there is obviously no correct answer, but the thing that this market is showing us, and that we've seen repeatedly, is that the efficiencies with which our audience is trading, and just the world in general is trading on the information that's out there, is so much more rapid.
Yeah.
If you go back to the Iraq war years ago, the market, it was much choppier. You would see different points of highs and lows. And just the reaction here is just so much more fast.
It's incredible. And no, it's a great point to make. And I mean, you go back to Monday even, or Sunday night really, the oil futures popped to $120 almost. And then a 30% retracement in the next 36 hours is like, that would never happen.
Yeah, you would never see such rapid movement. And I think part of that's also because there's the political side, the obvious political side. But then in the U.S., I was just watching a thing yesterday. Gas in L.A. at one gas station hit $8 a gallon. Yeah, so Sharif's happy he's got his Tesla. so it's imagine if you didn't have a Tesla in LA and you pulled into that gas station, you show up and the president is spending money on a lot of things, and then on top of that you're paying $8 a gallon. So there's going to be right sizing that's coming. That's part of the Venezuela thing. That's part of the Iran thing. That's part of all these things that all come together.
And it's almost like overcorrection, like both directions.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's the rapidness of the movement, right?
Yeah.
Because like normally in a trade like this, we would be talking days of what the impact would be. It was like the impact's done, now what?
And I mean, we've had this conversation on the show before, but I mean, a lot of this has to and goes back to the efficiency at which information is distributed at this point.
Yeah.
Information is
immediate. Yeah.
And then the reaction comes, seconds later. So, all right, with this, there's got to be opportunities, as far as the small cap side of things. We'll stick with a few names that are on the small cap end of the market cap scale. I mean, we talked a lot about the XLEs, obviously, Chevron, things like that, when this move initially happened.
Yeah.
Just generally, small caps followed suit, or wasn't as sustained?
I know. I think the large caps is where you obviously saw the movement right away. And it was funny. I was talking to one of my portfolio managers. He said, "I'll call you Friday morning with a couple of oil and gas names." And I didn't hear from him. I thought nothing of it. Looked halfway through the day. I'm like, "Oh my God, I missed the trade. It's already swung." And so I called him Friday after market. He said, I picked up a couple things for you, but I said, okay, Monday. He's like, oh, no, Monday the trade's going to be gone already. Like, we've already missed it. Monday, you got to over-rotate the other way, and you got to go on the swing side of what the Nasdaq's going to be doing. I was like, already?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, we've had the whole weekend to digest all this information that's come, and now Monday's going to be a new trade, right? So the small caps haven't followed as quickly on that side because everyone's focused on the large caps that are out there, right? So that's where the real, the quick money can be made. On the small caps, it's more of a fundamental, do you believe in this thing? And will then, like one of the guests just commented, if oil hits $200, will things change and everybody moves up, right? Like with the gold companies.
What is that line in the sand?
Yeah, exactly. At $2,000 gold, so many companies are profitable. At $6,000 gold, so many more are profitable, right? So.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about a few individual names here. PEY, this is a TSX listed company. And to that point, a daily chart on this one, I lost the chart here, but a daily chart on this one that really hasn't budged. I mean, looks great, obviously, with what has happened, but really hasn't budged in this.
Yeah, no, it had the up move, and then it had the down move, and then it's come back again. So it's gone as high as and as low as, and has retrenched back up after all the oil and gas names were seen dropping back down yesterday. So that was just a name we thought, it's a slightly, in Canada we'll call it a mid cap, but it's stuck around that $27 level.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see when all the other ones retrenched yesterday.
Vermilion, another one here, VET again, TSX listed stock here in Toronto. If you look at the daily chart simply and then compare that to oil, these stocks have done very, very well compared to the Chevrons, the XOMs that have been a lot more volatile.
Yeah, no, and again, because they're smaller cap, there's just a slightly less of an audience. It's a $1.75 billion company. Stock's trading around $11.50. But these are companies that are actually, they're reducing their debt. Both Peyto and Vermilion, I thought were interesting. Peyto just had their year end yesterday. Vermilion had it a couple of days ago. So if you want to just get into the weeds on that and see what their guidance is as well, both things are really interesting. Both companies paying their dividends. So if you want to be someone that's got some dividends, got some exposure to oil, these are nice names to play and just kind of keep over there. You don't have to worry about them too much. They're not going to fall off the face of the planet if oil goes the wrong way, and they're not going to, unfortunately, they're not going to go to the moon if oil goes up to $200. So.
In risk of dating ourselves, you've been around for a few of these types of moves, not only with metals but also with the energy side of things. We've seen, what was it, 140 plus going back to 2020, 2022. What does the other side of this look like specifically for small caps?
So it's just funny because we have seen many of those moves. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. It's like, do you remember when oil went negative?
We were sitting right here. Yeah,
Sitting here,
yeah.
oil went negative. You couldn't give it away.
Yeah.
And there was a company. There's a woman that works for the White House. She started a company, an oil company, during that time, and market cap was this, and sold it for multiples more just a couple of years ago, and has now since joined the White House. So you're getting better quality people going to the White House on the bureaucrat side, which is great to see. But on the small cap side, you know, it's for the small cap guys, it's always the M&A play. Like, are they going to be the takeout target? You know, you want to get some production going. Obviously, it's important. And then closeology, who are your neighbors? Are you going to end up being a takeout target? Or do you have enough differentiated oil that you become interesting for a production play? So those are kind of the lenses that you want to go in, right? Like when we talked about it a few weeks ago when Venezuela happened.
Yeah.
Who was going to be affected? Were the Canadian companies going to be as affected? Is it guys who have production going east? Is it guys who have production going south? There's all those little nuances that come into play.
And obviously more to understand as far as what is happening on the global scale right now to come. For anyone who maybe heard that for the first time and was like, wait, oil went negative, zoom out. This is a monthly chart of crude futures. It's funny, it was April of 2020.
Yeah.
So it's almost to the date. We're coming up obviously to that. Almost to the date.
6 years ago? Wow.
Yeah.
I just call it the COVID time. That was 6 years ago.
Yeah, it
wow.
was
6 years ago. Oil went negative.
It was negative 41.69.
Yeah, and I was
the low.
I was like trying to drive around in the car, like to see if I can fill up gas cans of just gas.
Yeah,
it was so cheap. It went below $1 here.
I remember that very, very well. Great stuff, Raheem. Good to see you.
Always.
You're just talking about there when oil did go negative, right? I mean, it was during obviously the time when the factories were shut down and no one was producing anything, and there was all this glut of inventory, and they were paying people to put it in their backyards, their oil. But
solid trades on the institutional side by some of the bigger players.
yeah, I mean, if you can afford to hold that, and also watching it run down to zero, I mean, they must have made a lot of money on both ends of that scale. But as Raheem said there, a broken clock is right twice a day, and yeah, it looks like for some of these gold companies and mining companies, their day is now. I mean, they've had a lot of get up in the past 6 months to a year, and you're now seeing that. I mean, even today, we actually talked about silver coming down just slightly a little bit there, but the fact that gold's at 5,000 an ounce. I mean, there's a lot of things right now that could easily create a little bit of a boon in this stock price going higher, as we just said. Looking at some of the commodities that we talk about now, oil far from settled, gold continuing going higher, and finding a base now, I think. Like, kind of when it's going, I mean, this is kind of gold going parabolic from August to November. I mean, it doesn't look crazy parabolic on a chart, but for gold, to be up, that 20-30% there in 3 months, that was a huge move. We came back in, and we've really supported this 50-period moving average. So I really like GLD over here. I've got the sticky note going out right now, and I've got silver as a short for today. I think we talked about this about an hour ago, right before PPI. That was 78.50. It's now 77.50 now for SLV, as that's going to the downside as well. Copper's been a big play as well, as we talk about data centers and new homes being built and how that's going. You've seen copper continue to make moves higher, although as silver, and we got to take a look at this and take away maybe the last week and a half. But that's a nice dip down, and I think there's buying opportunities here as well as we try to hold out for this 50-period moving average. It hasn't broken it in a year. So there's the break finally right now. But yeah, lots of interesting plays, junior miners as well. Interesting. It's already 8:58. I want to thank Luis Barbado for coming through and talking about some of the small cap names. And of course, one of our favorite guests, Raheem, always well-spoken and a wealth of knowledge in this space. So it's great to have him around, that is for sure. Okay, man, you're still in Nebius, I see. I haven't even been watching it.
I mean, I've been watching it really closely.
Yeah, I know you have. Yeah.
20% short float. I had to go and borrow some inventory as well. Funny enough, I was kind of posting this 107. I'll move this chart out of the way. I'm like more focused on the book than I am on the chart. Yeah, no, this 107. I tried to kind of chase it down. I was posting. Should just be removing liquidity here on on the way back down to 107s, because I was willing to get a little blasted through 107s, but that never really came in. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see if we can get back down in towards a VWAP before the open. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a balance back down into a reversion to the mean. But yeah, I couldn't really get any significant adds in here, so I just have whatever pieces that I took a little bit earlier into 106s. We're still kind of chopping around here, holding that anchored VWAP. That anchored VWAP sitting around 105.53 I'm seeing, and we got 105.60s on the bid here. So we'll see. Again, nothing too crazy here. I'm still waiting for the open to kind of tackle some of these earnings day one ideas here. AV, definitely one of them. There's a little bit of a fill on that Nebius down at the anchored right there. So we are printing 50 on the bid as of right now. But AV, a little bit of a gap down, looking for that potential continuation here to the downside. Is it going to be SSR? Absolutely yes. So definitely have to watch out for some of those SSR mechanics here. And then on the weekly, what is this looking like? Where are we sitting? Breaking below some multi-month lows below this 200 level here, Sean. So that's what's got me really interested. We haven't seen some of these levels on AVAV since about June of 2025. You can see the strong earnings report. We're pretty much retraced this one right here, and that's from the week of June 23rd of 2025, and that was a strong bid. What percent was that week itself? That week itself was 46%, probably most of it coming in on the earnings report there. And now today's earnings report kind of washing it right back down into an area where, could be interesting. 200 over under is kind of what I'm thinking here. 194.76. So that's one of my ideas for this morning, and it's looking good. Like in the pre-market session, it's doing what I'm looking for. VWAP is held as a bit of resistance.
It's getting down
I'm going to be looking for maybe a little bit more of this action here as we continue. So we'll see. I guess 200 was the place to get involved, but you had to be there 7 a.m. We'll see on that one.
You are a much different trader than my friend Neil Roberts right there. So it's interesting to hear your views in the pre-market. We hope Neil's doing well. Back next week, enjoying some spring training ball in lovely and extremely warm. As I said, he messaged yesterday, and hey, Randy, how's it going, my guy? You all right? How was your drive in today? Ugly, I know. It was wet and dark and rainy and this morning. I woke up early because I was going to take the TTC in, and then it was too wet and everything, so I just wound up driving there today. But yeah, there was talk about that Tesla. I didn't realize, Sharif, that was you that yelled out that big little scream there when we found out that it was $8 a gallon. I don't know if that's, can somebody confirm that in the chat? That does seem quite unreal. But yeah, as Raheem mentioned there, never better to have a plug-in at these days right now. But yeah, I don't even feel like it's that expensive around here yet. I did see $1.60 though on the way in per liter, so it's getting pricey right now. Was $1.22 to $1.25, I feel like, last week, up to $1.60 a liter here in lovely Toronto. So yeah, man, that's crazy. And I know you have family down there in California. Did they have any EV vehicles, Sharif?
They have none, Katina, man. That's what made me chuckle, because my sister just got the Cayman, but as we know, there's a new EV Cayman, which I was trying to persuade her to buy, and which she insisted in not getting. So I'm going to make sure to point that out to her today.
$8 confirmed in the chat. Also $370 in Tampa, Florida. Sounds pretty good.
No difference in tax, Brendo, between California and Florida. It's the same look.
Let's have a look at the market here.
Sorry, guys, a little spiel. Okay, let's have a look over here. 677 and a fifth, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're below it a fraction right now. We're down 0.13. So look, we're going to use yesterday's closing print as that first level of resistance. If we start catching a bid for whatever reason, maybe somebody tweets something out. Interesting, 680 will be the second level of resistance. If we start selling off, Brendo, that 672.5 has come into play multiple times, both on the 3rd and then again on the 6th. So we're going to use 672.5 as support.
All right, as always, if you haven't done so yet, grab this. Absolutely free every single day. Link is below in the description. Second link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. It's free. You know the deal. Let's talk about Oracle here. Nice move after the close. It was right out of the gate, just straight upside. Really no significant hesitation whatsoever until we get to 164. Really nice report here for Oracle.
Yeah, really good report. Let me just load this up if you allow me a second. Everything's all over the place, Brendo. There we go. Now we got it. All right. So they beat on the top and bottom line. It was a really good report from the local section right there. Adjusted EPS 179, beating the 170. Revenue 17.19, beating 16.91, with that top line number growing at a 22% year-over-year growth. Net income as well. 3.72 billion. That counts for about $1.27 a share, but that is a little bit higher than what they took home last year. Let's talk about their different divisions. Their cloud business here, they reported $8.9 billion in revenue of total cloud revenue, I should say, sorry, up 44% and exceeding analyst expectations. Cloud infrastructure revenue, their fastest growing segment, 84% bump year over year, up to 4.9 billion, and that grew at a very healthy 68% year over year as well, accelerating there. Let's talk about their long-term revenue outlook. They boosted fiscal 2027 revenue forecast now up to 90 billion. The prior guide was 86.6, and with respect to fiscal Q4, 1.92 to 1.96 for EPS with revenue growth slated to be between 19 to 20%. We're going to have to wait and see whether they can finance all this, because they keep saying they've got the money and they've got the demand. Let's see. Let's
see on a higher time frame as well how much of this move down we can maybe regain here over the next little while. Just reading a note there on Apple that I didn't really understand, but Apple teaming up with TikTok. You can play full song. Maybe you'll know more about this. You can play the full song and listen while in the TikTok app. Allows Apple Music subscribers to listen to a full music playback without leaving TikTok. So now when you're watching TikTok apps, you can also have Apple Music playing?
I guess, or you can play the full song, because you know they always give you like a clip of the song so that you can play it in the background for you, but then it'll repeat because you're only allowed to play a certain percentage of it.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually say for creators. It just says Apple Music subscribers can play full songs directly in the TikTok app.
I'm sure you'll have to link your account.
Two different audio playing at the same time. Weird. Anyways, Apple didn't do anything on that, guys.
Yeah, the way I figure, I mean, I look at TikTok here because we have viewers on TikTok. We want to say welcome to all of those viewers here one more time. I think it's probably, Sharif is right there. I think it's just I would say it's just gonna give a link to the song that you can click, and then it would open up your Apple Music, and then you could play it, and then, I don't know about that dual audio at the same time. That will be fun. Okay, so for Oracle, man, I mean, all this does is reinforce the fact that there's this huge demand for AI infrastructure, right? I mean, I think we already know that. We saw Nebius going to the upside today with investment from NVIDIA. We know the CoreWeave story as well. But this accelerating cloud growth and massive backlog gives these guys a boost. And I mean, we've been hating on it because of some of that debt, right? And you know, where are they going to get this money from? Are these data centers going to get built? We had a story the other day that it wasn't going to get built, then it was. AMD was backing out, or they weren't. There's just a bunch of nonsense, I guess, regarding Oracle, whether or not they're true or not. Ball doesn't lie, and right now you're up 10% on the day, right? So this capital spending and free cash flow is going to be a problem for Oracle, but if the market can move past it, then so can I. I mean, again, a relatively low PE. I thought I was looking at this thing that was in the 20s when I last checked this out. So let me just go over here and quickly have a quick look before I look at the actual chart of the stock. And it is, yeah, there it is right there. Forward 18, current PE 28. We'll adjust that with these current earnings. That'll get adjusted today, I assume. But yeah, Oracle, I like the stock. I have it written down here as something around this 158 to 158.50 or so level. So it's on the sticky note today. I have Oracle written down 158. I don't think we get there. You know, the market is now bouncing back to the upside. It doesn't look like it wants to fade. But to sit here and say that we haven't seen earnings plays come back in, that would be crazy, because they've come back in many a time despite us liking the report. So, you know, Marvell just kept going on the day of their report. So did IoT. There are a few other names that keep going, and I think Oracle does have that opportunity to do that. But if not, 158. Now, let's go a little more aggressive here. What about just this being a great day for Oracle and we take out 165? You know, you take out that 165 level, you are easily going to this 167, and then I think it bombs away, and then you're up 15, 16, 17% today on Oracle. You just got to take this out, and it looks like it's going to do that. So I actually like this aggressive long. I mean, it's going to go now, but this trade, it's too bad it's only 909. We have to wait for the imbalances and everything. They'll be dropped. And there are imbalances already, and it's a New York name, so we can double check it now that I actually remember that this is New York. So there is a buy right now on Oracle. That's not going to be a huge amount of shares. So it's going to be the top name on there, so I'm glad we checked. But I really like a break long through this level, but I'd rather it happen at 930. You know, than right now. So, you know, we've seen extension on some of these plays. So for me, it's kind of like a tale of two stories here. Either the market loves this name and we just rip through that top, or, you know, they don't love it and it gives us a good fade opportunity in and around that 158. So I know there's not much there, but at these levels, I'm more bullish than bearish, but I'd like to see a clean break of that top level, and I'd like to see it closer to 930, not now. So that's a trade there, and I think your first stage out of that is 167. So $2 upside, $2 downside if you take that break. It's what I like there on Oracle, and you actually looked at it through Blue Ocean last night.
Oh, yeah.
And had mentioned that 170.
Yeah, we almost got to 170.
Was a little bit of an area.
We got to like 169s and some change last night. So I do have some levels kind of marked out here. I have that 158 that you talked about there. That was kind of at that first pullback kind of area here. I have 160 halves, 163s, kind of this pre-market low area prior day. The reaction highs sitting in and around 164 halves, and then pre-market highs exactly at 166.75 here. We are catching a bit of a bid. This is a 30-minute chart, so I do want to look back and see where we're headed into. So we know that it's been selling off, you know, pretty decently for the past multiples of weeks. See a little bit of maybe resistance here all the way up in the 170s as well. So talk about a prior week breakout, maybe this consolidation that we were having, 140s-ish on the bid. We've held these for a while here, now catching a strong bid back up into the upper end of this kind of first green candle in a while, so that's 165s. But yeah, no, we've already kind of went up to 169s in the overnight session. There were definitely buyers overnight, you know, chasing all the way up into 168s, all the way from 162 halves actually. So I'm kind of curious to know if there's going to be more buying coming into Oracle. Very solid news, and it is pretty beaten down from the highs here. 344 highs, Sean. Absolutely wild. All the way there to the 140 lows. That's a 60% pullback from current prices. So that we're about at around 50% pullback. So talk about, you know, the classic 50% reversion of this leg. We got almost 100% reversion of this bid all the way from April. That's that presidential bid that I like to call, when the president was just like, yeah, let's buy, or you got to buy here, and pretty much almost everything bid up in the market. And that was a nice capitulation here as well. I guess that was off of earnings on the week of September 8th of 2025 as well. So going to be interesting today. One of the top names on watch. It is also catching a bid right now, holding above some of those after hours levels as well. So we'll see which way this goes. I'm excited to see if there's any real opportunity intraday on Oracle today.
All right, let's focus on energy once again. If you missed it, rewind the clock here and go back. We had a great conversation with Raheem about this, but I was just reading, Japan to release oil reserves as soon as Monday. Germany to partially release national oil reserves, same timeline. The European Union is exploring subsiding or capping the gas price in the EU as well. XLE did have a bit of a downtick on that. More inventory or more available inventory in the market, obviously not going to help support prices at all. But I mean, we can look at USO as well. That's been quite the volatile name over the past couple of days, also with a bit of a downtick here on that. But here we go again.
Yeah, what an afternoon it was yesterday. That was just madness with the tweet and the deleted tweet and the different conflicting information about what was coming in and coming out and still going on, quite frankly. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about possible new supply coming on here through the IEA, especially member countries. So apparently member countries collectively hold 1.2 billion barrels of oil. So that's what they've got in a strategic reserve. Of those 1.2 million barrels, there's a proposed plan that could release 182 million barrels, would exceed, I should say, the proposed plan would exceed the 182 million barrels that was released during Russia's invasion of Ukraine back in 22. So this is apparently considering the largest release of emergency oil in history by these countries. Obviously, there were many different reports yesterday with reports that U.S. forces are sinking Iranian vessels near the strait, including 16 mine layers. Apparently now the Iranians are set to be putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump threatening them vis-a-vis a Truth Social post not to do that with serious repercussions. And then we saw other ships as well, non-American ships, non-American flagships getting hit in the strait. I think you were mentioning a Philippine ship?
No, it was Thai.
Thai,
one from Thailand, yeah, an oil tanker from Thailand. That was just, as we came on this morning at 8 o'clock, they were reporting that. So things far from settled over there, it looks like, guys.
Yeah, no, 100% far from settled. Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome if we got a settling moment. I don't think we're going to be getting anything like that here today. But oil seems to be relatively calm here right now on the USO front. We did just have a run up into 107 there on USO. I'm going to talk about USO instead of oil. Let me just give a quick little look at the price of oil. We have the ability to trade the futures here at Real Trading and on Trader TV, but I think you and I, Obi, both like to use USO as the vessel. There are so many other names. I just want to remind everybody of some of those tickers. You could trade USO, XOM, Occidental, Devon Corp, DVN, ConocoPhillips, COP, CVX as well, Chevron, and then the lower ones, TPET, BATL, EONR, all moving around. But up there, I mean, there's that $88 mark again. So if we go over to USO, so right now you're up a little bit here on oil. USO is going to show a little bit of a different percentage because it's tracking from the close yesterday. And yeah, I wrote down on the sticky note 104, and that was just sort of these levels here that we had a problem with yesterday. Although when we got that story, we did go up into 106, and that's where we are right now. I was just looking at sort of this consolidation level right there of 104, and right now I have it written down as a long. I mean, I think with all of this sort of back and forth and controversy, are the ships going through, are they not? Are they accepting this insurance? Not. Is this Thailand boat hit or not? It's just, I don't think there's any reason for oil to start to come back to the downside. I think we are far from settled. I mean, I think it just takes one ship to get hit by one of these mines to prove that, they have laid some of them into the strait. And if that does happen, I think oil can shoot right back up to the north side again. Obviously we had a capitulated moment on the weekend there where oil got to 118 or 19 bucks, right? And then just came right back in. Well, yesterday was a little bit of a green day, back up to the upside right there. And it looks like today we're trying to go again. That 110, I feel like, wants to break on USO. And then if we go back over to the J contract here, and we're getting ready to flip it over to next month already. But, this, I know right now, as we look at where we're trading, 86 bucks, if we go a little longer time frame, this little breakout right here of 87.50 into 88, that I think could happen here today, and it's only $2 from here. Then we blast, and then it's gone. So I think there's a lot of consolidation from yesterday and yesterday afternoon that's happened. I feel like once we break through there, then it's a go on oil. A name like that BATL yesterday was about $20. Same thing today. Big short float on this name. Could go as well, and you are seeing a bottom here of around 18 bucks on BATL, so we can see if that wants to hold. That's 19 here. That's that shoot up spot from yesterday, and then we came back into the afternoon and held that $19 mark. So again, you can see these names are moving with the news. So if you want a little bit of a lesser priced instrument here, go over to BATL. It does follow the flows, and looking again to break through this $21 mark and then get going on BATL. So I like a break of 21 there, and on USO, I kind of find it hard to write down a level. You know, so I'm looking at that 104, 103 to 104 area right into here, see if we get some support, and not something to say like I'm bidding 1,000 shares there right now. I'm not doing that. We just want to see if it comes down, hits those levels, and we go from there. The important thing is that you're now tuned into the best station for energy plays, because the minute something hits, we will have the story for you ASAP, and then you can make your own judgments. I mean, we had for myself, one of the better oil trades, and you were in it as well a couple days ago. Yep. And then yesterday, we were all over that story again. So just be prepared. Seems like everything's happening in the afternoon when President Trump speaks and when some of this Department of War gets going. And I guess it also coincides with evening time, I guess, over in the Middle East, right? So,
have their lunch. They're just chilling. They're on their phone, making some tweets.
Lots of exciting stuff happening. Yeah, making some tweets or not making some tweets, or making some tweets and then pulling those tweets. Yeah. Yeah, what an exciting day it was there yesterday. I think that we're in the right space looking at oil moving forward.
Yeah, no, I think USO is definitely going to be my vehicle of choice. And if you guys haven't been here for the past couple of days, I'm just going to reiterate, probably one of the better vehicles to kind of watch and trade. Again, it's, especially if you're not really able to trade the actual crude oil futures. Yeah, a few levels I do have marked, but just going to be referencing kind of a news. I said this yesterday as well, and I'll say it again. I'm just going to be patient to wait for some news to come out to see if we get any sort of direction here. It is very news-based, so you definitely have to kind of feel it out and see what the action is doing once those I guess reports come in here. Strong bars here. This is the trade that Sean was talking about on Monday, where we dropped from 114s all the way to 98s here, and then yesterday we finally kind of cracked that 100 level and travel even lower down to a low of 94.23s. Bit of a reversion there. You can see strong volume. I did kind of mention this did look a little capitulatory. We're trading a little bit higher here in around 105s, 106s again. So yeah, I'll continue to watch this. I also have an anchored from this flush on Monday. So this is the intra-week high here, and we're holding that as of right now in the pre-market. But again, these VWAPs, these levels may not mean as much to me if and when the news comes out, and that's kind of, and we're expecting that. News has been coming out on USO pretty much all day long, and some of the more market moving articles and tweets or whatever coming out later on in the evening, as you mentioned. So I'll be patient, wait on my hands, and wait for the snipe to come in again. And when it does come in, I think that's the key there. You don't want to be kind of trying to mess around with whatever levels intraday. When the news comes in, everybody's kind of looking at it, and that's probably where I definitely want to be. I don't want to speak for others, but that's the arena that I want to play in on USO today.
Let's talk about Nike here. We're back to the upside once again. Couple of days kind of chopping around, but nice upgrade here today for NKE.
Yeah, Barclays, Brendo, with an overweight rating up from equal rate, raising the price target to 73 from 64. It's analyst Adrian Ye. He said the upgrade reflects improving operational momentum and a more favorable, what he calls, risk-to-reward profile after a very prolonged period of investor skepticism with this name. And if you look at the chart there, it has seen better days. The firm does believe, though, the market may be overestimating some of these near-term risks while underappreciating the operational improvements that are already underway. He likes better inventory management. He likes the better supply. He also says the company's turnaround strategy, especially in North America, appears to be progressing according to plan. He also sees double-digit growth in the running category, and Barclays views that as a good tailwind for the company. One key positive he did note is that sales are now growing faster than inventory. And just think about, what we were talking about. We were talking about being a glut of inventory and them being forced to rely on markdowns just to move it. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore. He still says, though, that there are some issues in China and international markets, specifically Latin America, where they're still lagging.
And many, many more popping up almost on a daily basis. It seems competition in this space continues to be just rampant. Nike, though, not a lot of volume here so far this morning, guys, but looks pretty good.
When you get sales outpacing inventory, I mean, that's going to be a good thing. I mean, inventory glut was a problem for Nike for a while there, as it sort of mass-produced all those Jordans and everything. And then there was a collectible market, and then there wasn't all of a sudden, as people were spending millions of dollars on NFTs and buying shoes and buying everything now. It seems like right now Pokemon and collectible cards are the thing to look for right here. But I don't, I think like, it's just like, this move down is just not great for Nike. Like, I thought that they were fixed there. They had a good quarter back in December, and it's like it was a battle right back up into the 200 period moving average again, and then we failed off of there, man. We haven't really been above that. This is October of 25, and you are 80 bucks, 70 bucks, the high there of 80. Now you're down to 57. I actually don't really like this name. I mean, I'm in Lululemon, which is no better. Lululemon had a nice move higher there. We were able to get a little bit out of Lulu, but I don't know if I like the space, man. I'm not, it's difficult. They went to their sort of online, buying everything off the app and pulling things from Foot Locker and some of the stores. But now with Dick's Sporting Goods owning Foot Locker, I feel like that's going to be good traction for Nike and for people to get back into the stores and potentially, spend a little bit more money. I'm a little bit worried about the competition as well, heating up as we talked about On and Hoka and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the other thing is there's a bull case here with the World Cup coming through. I don't know how popular for football soccer shoes are or anything like, or Nike shoes are for football. But, at the end of the day, I think it's just another shine on sports. And hopefully with the World Cup kicking around, more kids will be out there getting active and potentially buying some Nikes and getting that brand loyalty back. But I just don't know if they have brand loyalty anymore. My kids love wearing Nikes and any shoe, really. I mean, kind of my girls wear Uggs, and I don't know, my boy is wearing right now. He's wearing my old Yeezys, actually, right now. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like the stock. It's in a downward trend, and it just looks bad. So for me, nice upgrade Barclays, but not enough for me to get excited here as a day trade.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's definitely other names on watch. It did show up on in my morning watch list as a bit of an upgrade, gapping up, maybe breaking this trend here. This is a 3-hour chart, so breaking this trend. So maybe we get a little bit of a push here. But in the pre-market session, not really doing anything too crazy other than holding above some of these prior day highs. Again, not top priority for me, but we'll see if Nike will just do it.
Tesla trying to test session highs right now, back above 401 and change, currently on the back of the initial pop anyway, on the back of positive China numbers.
Yeah, it's good. When you look at it year over year, it's good because it was such a depressed year the year prior. But month over month, it's still questionable. Let's talk about this. They reported 58,600 Model 3 and Model Y deliveries specifically from the Shanghai Gigafactory in February. That includes, guys, exports to Europe and other jurisdictions. The figure represents a 91% increase compared to with February of last year, marking now 4 consecutive months of year-over-year growth. But despite the strong annual growth, you look at February deliveries, they fell 15.2% compared to January, typically reflecting seasonal weakness here. Production and deliveries, Brendo, also impacted by a partial assembly line shutdown. The shutdown was preparing the Shanghai Gigafactory for the new Model Y that we codenamed Juniper.
And the new Model Ys that are going to be coming from China to Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Leave it at that. I know we're tight for time here. If you were wondering, UPST, they're trying to get a bank charter. So big move at the end of the day yesterday, chopping around through to $29 right now, up nicely though on that news, guys.
Thoughts on Tesla?
Yeah, no, I'll be watching it. Kind of, you got to remember that the market's moving around with some of this oil news as well, and some of the Mag 7s that do follow that beta will be affected. So maybe some scalps off of that. Yesterday we saw that short come in at the end of the day at the low day / opening range low consolidation breakdown. I guess that was a quick nice scalp as well. So I'll be watching for moves like that on something like a Tesla there. So.
This KALA, thank you for the super chat. I don't know if we have that there, Andre. I just saw it right there. The story is Kala BioShares are trading higher after the company announced that its first commercial healthcare product will be ready to ship in 14 days. So I don't, that's 2 weeks, so I don't know enough about this company or this product, but we want to thank Jose for all this. So thanks for the alert. Kala, I also think, will break the 150 mark. So if we zoom out here, okay, I don't, I'll have to double check if this is a split or what there. but 20 bucks down to $1 right there, down into 40 cents and looking to break higher. That is that $1.50 mark right here. So that's the last time we got going. Can you guys hear that? Anyways, we're going through some renovations here. We apologize and want to say thank you to everybody for putting up with that. That was a little tough. Okay, just moving on right now into the day, man. As we get going, it's 9:28 right now. Let me just call up the imbalance locator, see what's going on there. Cost is here, SCO, Oracle. Yeah, nothing really on the Nasdaq side to be worried about too much. We'll check out what's doing on. I mean, the market's ripping right now. So silver, I like that trade. We like that long in and around 79 or 80 bucks. That's coming through very, very soon on that one. Sorry, short. Sorry, 79 to $80 silver short. I like the Oracle long, but we probably already missed it with the app. There it goes. So we said a 165 breaks gets us to 167. That almost already happened. So we'll have to wait to see if Oracle pulls back a little bit there, Obi. I know you're out of NBIS, probably a good thing. Maybe you'll probably get back in if I could guess you.
I got out and it just drops back down to 105s. I'm like, all right. But like I got in because I didn't really want to hold for that volatility off open. But here we go. In about 30 seconds, we may get that. And 166.75 is pre-market highs here on Oracle. So that's kind of what I'm watching as well. That's the level I've marked out. Actually, 166.60 is what I marked out. 75 is the high. We're already kind of knocking against the door of some of those levels. Maybe we get that 167 push right off of the open, but I'll be patient and watch to see what happens. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Good luck, everybody.
Let's go. Yeah, good luck, everybody.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yes, exactly. May the trading gods forever be in your favor. Okay, we are looking for IBIT short here. Right around here, man. I mean, IBIT's had a nice move higher. Let's just see if it wants to continue. These were the levels that I liked, in and around $40 here for IBIT. But look at this market. Wow, are we running today or what? Like, I wasn't sure if this was going to be a long or a short into today, but it looks like we are starting the day long. Tesla, nice bounce, man. What in the hell? Huge gap up right there for Tesla. We were just hitting at 400. Now you're at 404, 405. We had a great trade there yesterday on Tesla. Remember I said, man, the tech names, I don't know. I just felt like there was a bullish run coming in the tech space. And so it looks like maybe it's happening early right now. We don't have to get too excited about it, but it does look like right now with NVIDIA tipping up to 187 right there, that's going to be a good little look as well. Obviously a little bit back down. Oracle, just a quick look on this one. Boom. 168 already going, OB, as you and I just sit here and wait. But Oracle, watch out for that 170. You had mentioned yesterday in the ocean that was a key level. So we'll check that out as here goes NVIDIA. Little bit back down now. Maybe that high just got hit there on the Nasdaq. We'll see if it pulls back. 25,000 back retaken on the Nasdaq.
Yeah, that NBIS drops down. I was like, if it breaks 105s, then that could be something. We drop down to 104.50s there on the swipe. But this is the volatility that I'm talking about. We swiped up to above 106.50s and then all the way down to 104.5s as well. And even Oracle kind of with this, it looks like a 20, 30 penny spread, but it's moving about 30 to 50 pennies at a time. You can see this right here. Yeah, I was just watching the book and I look away, I look back, we're already past 167. I'm just like, oh boy. I gotta hold on this one. Let it calm down. It's New York as well. It can have like a late open at the same time, but the opening drive is very much intact through that 166, 65 or 75 level here as of right now. We got all the way up to 168 and some change there.
Oh boy.
On Oracle, 168.14s I'm seeing, and we were just talking about Tesla. Tesla is ripping to the upside here, 408s and some change right now on Tesla. So we held that 25,000 on the Nasdaq and giving us a little bit of a bid here. Got to keep eyes on this USO at the same time. Let's see what USO is up to. 104.50s as of right now on USO. Some of these other earnings names here. I had that AVAV. Let's take a quick look at that AVAV. There goes NBIS up through that 106 halves. Pre-market highs being those 107s, and then ultimate resistance is at 110s. If we can really distinctly push into 110s, I mean, ideally, if I'm sitting there watching it close, I'm trying to take inventory into and through that 110, but we'll wait and see if that actually comes in here. but AVAV was one that gapped down, and I was talking about it being SSR as well.
410.
Strong bid off of the open. No, not even off of the open. Let's see. Let's get in closer. Yeah, going into the open, strong bid, and then a bit of a chop zone here as of right now. So we'll let this one cook at the same time. CBP, another one. Let's see how this one's cooking here. Is that the right one? CPB?
One Campbell's?
Yeah, CPB, not CBP. Campbell's Solutions. Campbell's Company.
Campbell Company, yeah, soup.
Campbell's Company. So this, yeah, it doesn't really look like anything crazy here. We pop right back up into some of these reference levels from the earnings report and just chopping around. So not really doing as much volume as well. Yes, Adair.
So you're saying Campbell's doesn't look appetizing?
No, not
You
at
had
all.
that first pun. I thought you were going to give us the appetizing. I was a little disappointed.
So yeah, no. As soon as I came in, Campbell's was one of the tickers that Adara mentioned. She was like, okay, yeah, no, it's gapping down. Not really an amazing report there. But I was looking for that continuation, not really doing that continuation right now. But Oracle definitely with the continuation, almost at 170.
Oh boy.
Sean, 169 halves here.
Who's going to punch that long?
Oracle. I think the punch long was at 166s, but I'm going to be a little bit more patient. Maybe even look to take the backside of the move on this one, but we'll see.
I mean, we called that play at 165 break. Does it happen in the pre-market? We should have maybe taken it anyways right there. I was saying 165 to 167. It does look like it gets to 170. We have to slap a fail on our first attempt. I mean, we tried IBIT there short at 40. I thought that was going to be a good little level there, but obviously it's ticking higher now. 71,000 coming into play right there. So I don't know, man. I'm sort of thinking about this Oracle 170 play. We've seen many key names, hit key levels and get faded off of those levels, but it looks like Oracle right now might have the juice to
There it is, right through.
To break it. And there it goes, man. Maybe we have the break and fake now. It doesn't look like it. There goes Oracle right now to the upside. Maybe if it pulls back a couple pennies, we'll take it. There it is. We're long at 170.15s now. And we'll see if this one can get going a little bit. The high right there is 170.30s or so. We'll see if we can sit there. We just get that fill. And now we'll see if we can get a little higher now in Oracle. We'll see if we can make back a little bit of what we lost there or lose more on that play. And we've talked about the fake, the break and fake, and that looks like what it's doing right now. But there it goes, reloading that 170. We're long here, not a huge position. Obviously, we, as Obi had mentioned there, we had liked the long down here. The base right now, though, 166.50. We can't let it go that low against us here, but a little bit of a retracement back. How about prior bar low break, like basically 169? So if we break back down through 169, then we can say adios to this trade. But I think it's worth sitting in for a minute. Let's go to 168, like maybe 70s or so. If we break lower through then we'll get out. But for right now, let's see if we can hold on a little bit to Oracle here and get out near that 170.50, sort of where we did our first little spot. So we're into Oracle there on a break higher. We're only going to give this one about $1. Try to make $1, give $1, so on and so forth. Average in a little bit down here near 169.50 or so, as here come right back in. Like we were just at 170, so this is going to be pretty violent, needless to say, here at the top side. But it's Oracle, and it's moving higher. All right, Tesla is on one, man. That just broke 411. So there it goes through 411 right now. Tesla just elevated upside, and it makes sense, right? As we sat there and talked a little bit about EVs and the price of gas, and I think a lot of people, might run to this stock here today. It doesn't mean that people are going to go buy more cars. So there's definitely a story here with Tesla, but up to 410 and change right now. Interesting to see where we go. All right, man, we did get our last little fill there on Oracle. We do get that 169.25. So nice little higher push. We need to still break through 170. We're long right now, 169.70. So we can get back up to 170. That'd be nice. For me, you guys know where our stopping spot is, and we're back to flat now on Oracle. Let's see if there's momentum to take this thing through.
Yeah, no, I'm watching this one as well. I kind of took the other side there as we pulled back into 170, but again, still a little bit of the front side of the move here. What is the high there? 170.44 is there. Yeah, sometimes I like to dabble on the front side of the move. It seems like the bid is definitely still here into this 170 level, but I did punch a little too low into that 169. As you guys can see what I have there, 169.18s, but I'm giving it a little bit of a wide wide stop there. The market is pushing to the highs there as well, so I probably have to kind of wait for that one. Nice. So we do print some fresh highs here, 170 halves as of right now. But you can see we're pulling right back into this 170. So a lot of chop, a lot of volume kind of being done here at around 170, and that was a wick of the highs as well. A little bit at that 170.60, so maybe I like that a little bit.
I feel like it is getting top heavy there, Obi. Like I was just able to get I got some out at 170.55 there, believe it or not. So I am thinking that, you know, let's get another offer there in the mid 170s, like 170.20, 170.30 or so. But to your point, I mean, I know you're short. Here it goes. So you're short. Oh, well, it's just in the money there, and now we're out at like this is back and forth $1.50 right now. Pretty aggressive and pretty violent. So I feel like we can both actually win on this right now, as it seems like we are having some top troubles there in and around 170 on Oracle. But I'm still there. You guys know sort of the plan of action for myself. Let's move off of Oracle just quickly because both he and I, Obi, are on this name. So here's USO right back into 104. This was a level that we were talking about. So we'll see if we can wind up holding it. I mean, I'm going to try to wait to see if there's going to be a news trade or something like that here on USO. But for right now, just calming down and waiting to see what USO wants to do. It looks like it maybe break a little lower there now, down 2%. Silver could also be one of those plays. There it is. So I got out, so there goes the move down.
170 was a spot. As soon as we wick that high, so the prior high
we did 3 times.
Yeah, we tried, like 170.44, and it comes in. If you guys go down to a shorter time frame, like sub-minute time frames, you can see that it wicks that high by about 15 pennies, gets slammed right back in, and then it just it's churning the 170. So it's distinctly different than the kind of action that we had going from 166s on the pre-market high breakout all the way up to 170s as well. Now, this could very well pull back, find a base a little bit higher, like 7 halves or 8 halves, like it is doing right now, and continue back through that 170. So I am being wary and watching that potentially come in. And NBIS, I talked about that 110 being the level of a bit of resistance there. We got all the way up to 110. So yeah, had to be long through some of these pre-market highs, 107s to 110s. That was the opening drive trade here on NBIS. Now, you know, as part of a playbook, I call it the large cap association trade. Ooh. And NBIS being definitely a smaller cap than NVIDIA, there is no larger cap than NVIDIA.
No.
Right? So it's like talk about an A+ large cap association trade on or setup on NBIS today. VWAP hold that 105. That 105 had an immense amount of size in the pre-market, and I was just like taking it short, seeing what we do with that 105. And luckily enough, got out of that short maybe a little too early, but came into those 105s, held those off of the open, and then blast off through those 107s, 107
wow,
halves,
look at Amazon.
110s. What's happening?
Amazon's off right now. ASNS, no idea what this is. Actelis Networks, yeah, so another one here moving around, man, up 18%. We can find out, Adara, put her on this one. ASNS, see if you can find some news over there. We'll basically go flat on Oracle. I mean, you saw when we got punched out there. Good, yes?
ASNS got an order from the Japanese government. It's not, they don't name which organization it's with. They're going to be providing, quote, dozens of units of their Metalite networking solutions. I believe they had a deal with California DOT last week, so ASNS, this is not like the first catalyst we've had in this, even within the last week or so.
Okay, boom. So ASNS, thanks for the super chat and thanks for the story there, Darren. We'll see if it breaks that 45-cent marker. I'd sort of mentioned their Amazon, Obi, and this one's getting going for sure. And I had said that I thought this one was overdone, man, on their earnings report, and I should have. I'm long this name, but we did not buy more down there as we rip up to the top side right now, breaking through 216 and trying to hold some of that top as we get deals with Zoox and Uber today. So Uber actually climbing today as well, up to that 75 and change, a nice little pre-market level, potentially a nice little fade level here, I would think anyways, on Uber as it's just holding out 75, 60, figuring out what to do. Google also a little low here today, considering what the GOOGL, why did that not load up? Okay, come on, Google, come on. Don't tell me I'm getting these charts again. Relatively flat here if you're looking for something to do. Maybe it's a Google trade today, but not much going on. NVIDIA did pull back into that 185 or so area, and then just shot up. This is a ridiculous long that I should have been a part of. That is so stupid that I'm not, and I'm upset about that one because We love AMD and NVIDIA. And as I say AMD, oh boy, Obi, AMD is a rocket. If you're looking to pull something back in, man, this thing just shot up to 209 and change. AMD looks like it's going. Check back in on iBit, still kind of hovering around. It does make that high there at 40.30 and give us a little bit of an area to get short if it does come back up there with some of those wick tops. Still looking at Oracle. I know you're in that one, so we'll pass on that for now. And then Tesla bouncing off of 410, it seems like, as well. But it's Advanced Micro Devices that is absolutely shooting the moon right now up to 209 rejection, but a nice move there for AMD up 2.5 today.
Yeah, no, there's still a lot of chop and churn happening here on Oracle at that 170 level. You can see the market with a little bit of a top wick here on this 15-minute candle with about a minute left. So yeah, this is the close of this current 15-minute candle. Okay, so that 170, that was a stronger push into 170. Let's see if it gets stuffed once again, or do we continue to push even harder here? So yeah, this is yeah, a lot of chop and churn. Again, trying to stay light here. Definitely understand that this is very well the front side of the move. There we go, back into those 170, 80s highs as of right now. Let's see if we can get to the 171 as well. Yeah, it seems like 171. There's some size on 171.
Holy shit, why did I drop
20,000 shares on that 171. Let's see if we can slap that size up there. But the end of this 15-minute candle on the Nasdaq, man, strong selling potentially coming in here as of right now. So 110s broke on NBIS, so that one's actually going pretty decently. Let's see if we can sustain above those 110s, as if you look on the weekly, that is a prior high level. That was interesting to me as well. And again, nice little continuation happening here on NBIS. Let me know in the chat what you guys are trading and what names you guys are involved with off of the open today. Lots of movement, lots of craziness. You can see here there's a Nasdaq. Let's see how this one starts printing this second 15-minute candle here on the Nasdaq. Wow, there goes NBIS just blasting off 111 halves. That was the one.
That was the one, yeah. And the one was Oracle, actually. Like, I was in that. I know you're still short, but we were long that one. I feel bad about dropping that. Tesla did have a increase in China sales. So there's that as well. I'm going to try. We just got some out here at the 25 period. Just thinking the Nasdaq may be due for a little bit of a pullback. We're just going to use this day high there and see if it runs that level. And getting short right now in the Nasdaq. What's up, Adara?
Here, I know you've been talking about and involved with Tesla here, Sean, but yeah, they're apparently at a 2-week high now. Again, even though there was a month-over-month decline for their China-made EV sales in February, there was a year-over-year increase, 91%. That's the deal with TSLA. I know you kind of just mentioned it, but just to recap of that story for you guys, also letting you know, no 9:45 a.m. numbers. Obviously, it's now 9:46, but there aren't any 10 a.m. numbers either. 8:30 a.m., of course, very in line, nondescript CPI release. We also had Fed's Bowman at 8:30. I'm not seeing any other Fed speak or releases later in the morning. Back to you.
All right, we're making some money back here, so it's going to be a good little move for me short. As we just reloaded it, we talked about that one, so we go reload up there. And it wasn't really a reload, I guess. I mean, I just like that. I kind of like that graphic. But it was just more of, okay, back up to our levels. We like that 50 fill. We'll see if we can get it out. So we're getting it out now at this 25 period moving average. And again, just an early little scalp here on the TQQs, which of course would be the Nasdaq, and just seeing some top heavy movement there. You know, maybe potentially due for a pullback. We saw Amazon lifting this market, NVIDIA now coming back in. We can check out to see what Apple's doing. Obviously, Tesla's got the feels under it today. 410 still for Tesla. Apple pulling back should help the Nasdaq, I would think. And then Microsoft right now as well. You got to look at all these names if you're going to trade the TQs. So we just have to make sure that we're not ripping faces off. It's Oracle that's going higher there. You're still in it, so I'll leave that to you to talk about. Tesla 410 doesn't seem to be doing much up at this level for now. I still like my boy Marvell, man, and I've been telling all my friends, and I'm telling all you guys, and I really like Marvell, and I said that this morning. I thought it was one of the best opportunities in the market right now, and you know, great earnings call, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying higher on Marvell. I'm actually getting ready to do that. I was loading up my account today to see if I had any more room to deposit more cash, to buy more Marvell. And there it goes upside right now, breaking through these levels. Really like this stock, can't say it enough. MRVL, I own it. So, but I've owned this name for a couple of years now, and it was one of my picks of the year, so so be it. All right, man, now we are really starting to print, man. Nice downside play. Look at that size on the bid. See ya. Bang! That's a monster trade right now as we make that money back on the Nasdaq right here. 35 cents in the money on this one, man. As there it comes back in. So let's see now what winds up happening. We get almost top of the day into VWAP right now, and now we can hold. We're out of exactly half. So I feel like we've done pretty good right now on this play. And let's just see if there is a little bit more of a dramatic pullback. I'm actually going to take out one more piece down here if we can get it. I just bid 74s. And again, for us here, we talk about fee management. It's better for us to bid than to remove liquidity on a fee side thing. So me just getting hit at 74 there, I'll actually get paid a small amount per share for taking that fill. So this is how sometimes you see OB less so than me, but taking many fills, we're not paying $5 a fill or anything like that, right? It's just whatever clearing fees or SEC fees are associated with the fill. No actual trading, no actual gateway fees are charged to us if you are adding.
I'd like to be sized well enough that I'm paying $5 a fill, but
oh yeah, that'd be good too.
Yeah, not yet.
Did Oracle come back down?
Yeah, Oracle did come back down with that market move there. So VWAP sitting at 167.50s right now. We're trading at 168 halves. You can see how I kind of did that right there. Didn't really get too aggressive here, but as we started to actually break the trend, I did get a little bit more involved as of right now. Let's see what we do with VWAP. This is a bit of level here as well from before. And again, let's see where it finds a bit of a bid here. 168 halves trading on Oracle. What's up, Adara?
I want to let you guys know here, USO is going to be on watch in about 11 minutes. IEA, and that's going to be the International Energy Agency Executive Director, Faith Birol, is going to be delivering a statement on energy markets at 3 p.m. CET. That translates to 10 a.m. EDT, which means it's going to happen in now 10 minutes. Of course, I will be covering that for you guys. Not sure if there's going to be a stream. I'll be reading the comments regardless, but at 10 a.m., not only will we have our Happening Now segment, we're also going to be getting this statement delivered by the Executive Director of the IEA. Now, of course, we know the IEA was reportedly considering releasing some of these oil stockpiles. So if you are in USO, be careful right now. We could get a move with this statement. I'll keep you guys posted when I hear anything else. This is all I've heard on this so far. Back to you.
I'm going to refresh because I want to make sure I'm hearing all of the news as well. Thank you, Adara. We have a button.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Isn't it amazing that President Trump...
You're welcome, President Trump.
Yeah, isn't that amazing that President Trump said that about Adara? That's crazy. You guys are... Yeah, don't worry, Adara. Let's just pretend it was. Okay, so yeah, really great. Okay, now I've got it in my ear. All right, man, let's just start ringing the freaking register. I don't know what you're doing with Oracle, but I'm right now gonna start taking some out, man. As we get right back to this low side, getting a little bit lower here. We'll bid some more out here at 49.50 if we can. Let's just get a little bit more out here at mid 50s there, and then a little bit lower after that. We never know when we're gonna get that one like whoosh down moment in the futures, especially if we do hear some of the stories with oil, as we had just heard from Adara right there, 105. So we had written down, at an unbelievable turn of events, we wrote down 104 on the sticky note here for USO, and that is the temporary bottom. Maybe we get a little lower on that right now, but there it is, 104. Yeah, good little look there. Tesla's still holding higher. Did AMD finally come back down again? We're going to look at some lower names as well very soon. There goes AMD to the downside, so that's good. ASNS was the super chat. Your super chat, we'll look at it. Good call on that one, man. You super chatted this one down in the mid 40s. Now you're up to 54. Congratulations on that. And just really quickly, I want to check out that one other stock that we had super chatted earlier. Go into fan funding. ASNS, KALA, that's what it was. Let me just go have a quick little look at that one and see what's going on there, because the shout out was real this morning, as many of you super chatting in and letting us know what's good. And there goes KALA up 50%. So yeah, Amazon's working out right now. Well, actually, Amazon came all the way back to the downside there. Did not realize that. Maybe it's time to get long again. here as we have a little bit of a pullback. Assuming your Oracle's doing well, do you want to give any updates on that, Obi?
We came back into 170,
Okay.
kind of knocking on the door of 170 here. Let's see what we do with that. A lot of volume, again, churned. Earlier, we did have a nice little push up into 171, 172 area, almost 172. What is the high there? 170, 175. I'm seeing as the current day high. But yeah, a lot of volume kind of being traded here. And the fade came in with the market pulling back in. But you can see right here, right now, the Nasdaq, that red candle just went red to green. So going to keep a close eye on that as well. Strong bid off of the open. I was like, okay, nice. CPI comes in. We were selling off into the open, and then that aggressive bid just comes in right off of the open for, I guess, a reversion of some of that CPI selling there. So continuing to just watch this this Oracle here. That NBIS is just chopping around that 110. So I guess we pulled back to 109s and some change here on NBIS and holding a higher low relative to this prior one right here, which was in and around 108 and change. So I did like that we went all the way to 112. So talk about an opening drive, which was absolutely beautiful. Again, these large cap association trades are definitely something. When, especially when you get something like what is the cap? There goes Campbell's company, by the way, coming in to its low. So I guess sellers finally stepped right back in on this one here. But NBIS, let's take a quick look at what the market cap on this one is as of right now. Actually, you know what? 27 billion, so not that small, but still relative to a, I guess, over $1 trillion company like NVIDIA. Cap association.
I wanted to bring to everyone's attention that right now I feel like there's an issue with the pink sheets. There's something going on. The quotes just aren't really doing anything right now on the pink sheet. So no volume. Here's another name, DIDIY. Sometimes I look at this and it's absolutely doing nothing right now. And I actually went to their website. So I actually sent a message. I have Mendel on WhatsApp there. So nothing going on right now on their current market board. So something going on there. I've got out the APB over to Mendel. So we'll see when he gets back to me right now. He's probably plugging in the wires right there. So we'll see if he can get back to me. I'll let you guys know. Just for you guys out there looking at the pink sheets, or the OTC market, I should say. Okay, Apple's not a PK name. All right, so there it comes back in. Apple right now, zeros on the board for Apple. But they've fallen right back into this nice little level, into like a nice warm pocket, looks like of 260.50 or so. So I kind of like that. It's hard to go long Apple and remain short the Nasdaq right now. But that bounce off VWAP is pretty nice. I'm still leaning towards the short, but Amazon also is playing at a key level right now in this 206 area that we've held on to. Come on, man, what's going on? I apologize, guys. Obviously, Amazon's not 206. My chart's just not participating. There it is right there. That's 214. The 200 period is what we're getting at right now with Amazon. So I think there could be a level of concern there. But yeah, we're just going to continue to watch the short here in the market. Watch out to see what oil's doing. The CLJ contract, I was just looking at it, wasn't doing much. It seems like we might have ticked the bottom there on oil, and we had called this 84.50, which is 104 on USO. Doesn't look like we're getting too much reaction right now to the oil space. There's 104, 104.50, so kind of just chill right now on that space. Silver, I really liked that short. 78. I wrote down 79. We didn't quite get there, but with the 200 period making this kind of a move down, we could adjust our expectation, maybe a 78. If we can pop into that, there might be something going on that side of things. And let's just, Adair's going to come with some updates, but let me just quickly look again at the broader market and see what's going on your S&P 500 for right now today. The S&P 500 itself as an index right now is flat. We're down 0.02 right now on the SP. You can see a lot of gray. Gray is going to be basically the indicator of flat, all right? When you get under, less than, or over 1%, under 0.5% goes gray. So we got NVIDIA right now, green side, AMD kicking around 1.6%, Micron, Marvell's not in the S&P 500, it's crazy. So that's not in here. The financials all red today, so that's not great. There's Robinhood downside, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs down 1.35% as that's going through. there. Looks like the consumer durables led by Tesla today and GM and Ford. So all of these space. And yesterday we had that crazy trade at the end of the day on Rivian. Maybe we should look over there. Energy names today. That looks like that's where the safety is. What's up to my guy Valero, man? We really like that stock. Valero, $225 right there for VLO. Good little level for them coming through now as well. And on the low end of the stick here today, Procter & Gamble, Philip Morris, man, Altria, Pepsi. So as I had said, I think the switch is over to tech. I'm pretty bullish on tech names and think that the other names have gotten a little too spicy right now on the PE side of things. So for me, trying to get bullish on tech, I know that seems crazy because I'm short right now, but I like tech for a little bit of a longer term play. I'm going to get out some more here right now on the TQs as we're definitely holding VWAP here at 49.70.
Yeah, I'm still watching. So Oracle finally got back below VWAP there. USO holding VWAP, so something similar to that of yesterday happening there on USO, where in the morning session you just hold that VWAP. Over and over again. Let me pull up this USO book here as well. That's going to be on the MX right here. Do we have our size filters on? Yes, we do. All right, cool. So size filtered for about 1,000 shares right there. Yeah, look at that coming right in. So 105s. We saw that 105s kind of holding on.
Yeah, I like the 104.
I don't know if there's news right now, but you do got to check. There's some aggressive.
Yeah, there's some news.
There's a little bit of news here.
Do we want this short now?
I think the VWAP was
too short. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the market's ripping on whatever's happening right now as well. So we're going to give a little bit back here. I still don't mind this short at the high of the day, but remember, guys, we are going to blast ourselves out of this thing if it does get too much higher than where we are right now. We can put a little bit of a reload on here at O's. I'm waiting for $50.10 before we get going here, but yeah, it looks like I was just, oh man, sometimes I can't get caught here with rose-colored glasses because I liked the long down here. It's not like it's gone yet on Apple, but I also liked Apple and I liked the Amazon long, and both names bounced cleanly there off the 200 period moving average. So a little bit of a missed opportunity for sure there in the longs for the market. Should have just stuck with sort of that thought and maybe dumped TQs when we were that low, but whatever. We took out some money. You guys I told you we were out of half of it for much bigger of a winner than we'll lose here, apparently on the way back up. There's definitely stuff going on. All right, what's going on over there, Dara?
Yeah, Sean, honestly, I don't have anything for you. Apparently some drones struck fuel tanks at a port in Oman. Iran's new leader was already injured during the first day in his post. That is all I am seeing, and that is quite honest here. I'm seeing some more headlines coming through right now, and absolutely nothing market-related at all. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Nothing to tell you. I'll do happening now while I'm here, though. Nasdaq hanging out near intraday highs and now trying to break new intraday highs. Nice push to the upside. I'm going to keep an eye on oil here because, as we know, IEA, we are expecting to get some data here on whether or not we're getting these oil stocks released. If I get that, I'll let you know, but I'm really not seeing anything right now. ORCL on watch with earnings, beating EPS and sales guidance, generally better than expected here going forward, though it looks like their sales guidance for the quarter kind of mixed, actually. TSLA sharply to the upside. Not only did they have better or year-over-year increase in China sales, but Business Insider also reporting more AI agent efforts from the company. And Amazon on watch here. We know they've had this Euro bond sale. It's going to be a record bond sale here, 8 parts. I'm still looking here for market news, guys. If and when I see anything, I'll keep you posted. But apparently EIA, this just came out 20 seconds ago. IEA members have agreed to release those 400 million barrels of oil. So keep an eye on USO. 400 million barrels of oil have been agreed to be released. This came out as expected at 10 a.m. So this was just released. This was not happening heading into that 10 a.m. Back to you.
All right, well, I mean, I went short oil on that. It doesn't look like it wants to work. Right now we're out of the money about $1 or so here as the levels are starting to blast off. President Trump saying there's not much left to do in Iran right now, and he thinks that we're getting close to being over with. So I don't know exactly why oil is not reacting a little more to the downside right here, but I think we can use our 104 area now as a stop, and it'll be a hit, obviously. But now Trump is speaking The Iran war will end soon, he's telling Axios, which is why we get these TQs blasting to the upside there. See, man, I switched over to it and then my chart didn't go again. So the short was fine. We did reload it there, but now you can see it coming back in. So we do get stopped out there on the day high break. We unfortunately had to pay about 10 cents too much there as the Qs really got going on news. So we'll be short oil now, waiting for a down push here. Don't know if it's going to happen though, Obi. Oil right now just hovering around. We got more news. We'll go over to Adara.
Yeah, more context on these comments from Trump. He didn't necessarily, he did say that oil, that the war will end soon, but he more specifically said it'll end anytime he wants it to. So whenever he wants to end it, it's going to end. Not necessarily that it's going to end right this second, but that does, of course, come from an interview with Axios. So it doesn't look like he's speaking right now. It looks like he previously made these comments to Axios. He also said there's, quote, practically nothing left to target within Iran. I'm also seeing a headline on Meta. Unclear if this is brand new, if it's being recirculated, but I will mention it here because I'm seeing it come through. META deploying 4 new generations of MTIA chips within the next 2 years. And one more, I'll just repeat that headline one more time here for USO. IEA members going to be releasing 400 million barrels of oil to help get these oil prices lower. Back to you.
Well, he's not helping get my position any lower here as oil continues to go upside right now. We got a little bit of a shake and bake. I think that was a good move there, Obi. It looks like right now on USO. So trying to be patient with it now and letting it sort of flatten out here. We're short at 102.50. So we're out $2 here right now on USO as we get ready to watch out for 104.50 or so coming through there on USO. It does not look like the short is good to go there. We were waiting for news. We took a shot. Might not be the story that we were hoping for. Well, it's kind of the story we're hoping for, but not the reaction in the oil markets right now. So here we go. Let's go figure this out. But right now it's USO time, upside for oil.
Yeah, no, that was a strong bid. I was just I was watching that flush down to 101s. I'm like, yeah, something's definitely happening, and then it just flips on that 101, 102, just right back into this 104, 105 area here. So yeah, I am watching it. There goes the market. Nice, that was a strong bid. But you got to remember, we've already been bidding pretty aggressively off of the open, and then strong flush right back into what seems to be, I guess, some overnight highs there on the Nasdaq. 25 120s-ish area, and then you get a little bit of a top wick back down into that, I guess, a level of resistance. Let's see if that resistance turns into support after a strong bid. I don't know. I'm just kind of, speaking whatever's going through my mind here. A lot of the time it's kind of jumbles, but I'm just like, okay, is this was resistance before? Is there going to be more supply there? Does it turn into support? I have no idea. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, so what happened here is, in addition to Axios reporting that Trump said he could end the war whenever he'd like it to, apparently we're also hearing that officials are preparing for at least 2 more weeks of strikes. So, and that's also reported by Axios. So not only, I guess, President Trump can end the war whenever he sees fit, according to him, to Axios, but then also we're going to be preparing for more strikes, at least 2 weeks worth. Also still seeing comments from IEA Executive Director Faith Burrell. If I get anything of note from Faith Burrell and or her organization, I'll let you know. But one headline, quote, flows of oil and gas via Hormuz have all but stopped. Back to you.
Yeah, wild times there. Thanks, Adara. And like I said, man, Adara's going to have all the news for you guys ASAP. We do have something exciting to talk about because last week, Trade the Pool hosted a live draft where 12 stock coaches built their starting 5. 5 stocks they believe can survive the bracket and win the tournament. Now it's your turn to join the madness. There's 2 ways. There's challenge number 1. Pick the coach you think has the strongest team. If they win the tournament, you could win an evaluation trading account. Challenge number 2. Think you can beat the coaches? Build your own core 5. If your picks outperform the tournament champion, then you can win the grand prize. Sign up as a group, and your prize pool doubles if you win. Trade the Pool is putting up $2 million in prizes on the table. The tournament starts March 16th. Wow, that's coming up. Scan the QR code right now to get into the game. And we want to thank Trade the Pool with an interesting idea there for March Madness. And yeah, wow, that's starting up very, very soon. So we have some fun there with March Madness, and Neil and I will probably be talking all about that as we go. Yes. Trump said the Maple Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Okay. Well, that's definitely not going to be happening. All right. here goes oil, man. It's getting real aggressive now to the upside. I was just going to stop out, honestly, at 105 and change. It's not a huge position because oil's not moving the way we thought it would. On that story, I was like, all right, we're going to the downside. Then we took off. We averaged it up into the 25 period moving average right there, but it does not look like this war is near over. As Adair just mentioned, many more strikes apparently coming in the next couple weeks, which kind of is like talking out the side of your mouth. Like 1 minute, President Trump says literally not many targets left in Iran. And then the very next comment is, we're not even close to being done yet, man. 2 more weeks. So let's just hold on to this. We do have our target out. Hopefully we don't get blown out to the upside, but it's not looking great now as oil downside. Oracle chilling, but you've got that position on, so that's going to be a good one there. We can see what's going on with silver, maybe the US dollar having a reaction to this as well. Let's just check out the DXY quickly, and then we'll go back and see what OB's up to. So here's our daily chart on the DXY on those recent stories. So yeah, I think that was a good call there. DXY does make the move down, just similar to oil, and now bouncing back upside. So it looks like we're starting to get a little blown out here on the top side of USO. So I guess this is not sort of the story that we thought it would be, and we're getting stopped out on the upside. Here it comes at 105.50. We're going to get stopped out of half, and then after that, man, we're hopeful. I just don't want to get stopped out of it all at the 200 period, but I do realize that obviously, where's my mouse? That this is a point for concern for me. I mean, we use that level as our stop out normally anyways. So there's an L. We got out of just a little bit more than half for an L here so far on USO. Let's see if that is the spot. Wouldn't mind going short again, but something's going to have to change to put on some serious shares here of USO. All right, let's go back over. What's up, Adara? More stories on this?
Yeah, I have more, but this is from the IEA executive director. That's going to be Faith Birrell. She is still speaking. Of course, IEA announcing that the member countries are going to be releasing 400 million barrels of oil from the strategic stockpile. Now, she's saying that can't all happen right away. It's going to happen over a period of time as the member countries see fit. They're going to be providing further details of how this action will be implemented, quote, in due course. So we don't really have a time frame for this. We don't really have a strategy plan as of right now, but they are going to be, I guess, announcing said strategy shortly. If I do get more details here from these comments from the IEA executive director, I will keep you posted. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. So Oracle almost back into opening prices. I kind of like that. That's a trade in itself. A back through open. I like that. Opening price on Oracle is 166.45. We're only about 40 pennies away from there. This VWAP chop was a little bit aggressive. We got strong flushes into the bid, strong bids all the way back up into the. I guess I have an anchored here. Where's that anchored from? I guess. Off of a volume event from this morning here, just kind of off of the open there, and I'm like, all right, cool. So we're kind of sandwiched in between that. Didn't really hold VWAP too well as of right now, but we'll see if it can get down there. As of right now, the current low is 166.78. So almost got to the opening price there on Oracle, but yeah, with this market pulling right back in, you can see that 15-minute candle with about 4.5 minutes left just went from green to red, but anything can happen. There's news coming out that's really kind of moving this market, up and down, kind of shake and bake right there. AVAV is continuing to the upside here, so we talked about it being a potential continuation. That did not work out at all. Instead, we pullbacks into VWAP held quite well, and now we're trading a little bit higher on this one here. So eyes on oil. Oil's back at USO's back at 105 halves as of right now. In terms of the Mag 7, I guess Tesla was the most strong, but we talk about another name that's been stronger than the others as of recent. And take a look at this one, Sean. Goggles. I can see that this is the strongest of them all, holding its highs pretty well. 310.30s is the current day high here on Alphabet, so that's holding up pretty well. And then NVIDIA, of course, NVIDIA 187.60s. I'm seeing that is probably the second strongest one right now. So NVDA, that was a great long as well off of the open there. Now, again, they have an event coming up next week with I think it's called GTC. As I'm thinking about cars half the time, but yeah, no, the GTC is next week, and maybe we're going to get some more moves on Nvidia off of that. But right now, again, very news-driven market, so you got to watch out. So you got to have your news sources up and ready. And I definitely want to thank Adara for bringing us the news in a very prompt manner. If you're asking what is the news,
oh shit,
it's probably too late.
Yep.
So you got to be on the ball in these markets.
We just we tried to hold USO there. It does not. I mean, it goes through 106. So unfortunately, you know, averaging up into that trade, we're just gonna have to wait until we get a little bit better news coming through for. Or for the short, or for the long, or for the short, but just something else different, because right now we are trending higher on oil and lower on the Nasdaq. So it's funny because we initially liked this short there, and then that's blowing down through. We didn't. I mean, really, the loss today is USO. I mean, everything else is completely fine. Oracle, great short there. You nailed that one. We're in and out of Oracle pretty quickly. IBIT, again, like we have the short, it's printing, but now it's downside, and we just didn't hold it enough, and that blew through, so we're fine with all of that. I don't know, man, like, did we just get taken out at the very top here of USO or not? Because now it's coming back in a little bit at that 105.50 level. Maybe this is a spot. I'll try it again here, pretty light, right here at this level though. Maybe this is the move to come back in now on USO, but yeah, I don't want to be caught stubborn here and be like, you know, this has to come down. It does not have to do anything. Right here, USO. So let's give this a little bit of room now to see what it wants to do. But yeah, we'll try the short again. And we just got taken out, so not a great trade. I was thinking about Amazon actually here at the nether bounce spot. We've already been down here once or twice there, including the open was here. Then we hit this. Then we go back down into the 200 period again. So maybe instead of just keep on shorting oil, why not thinking about a long potentially here in Amazon? All right, looks like it's trying to hold this 214, 215. We did get, you know, we can go back over to Zoox and Uber right now, because Uber did have a nice upside play there today. It's trying to hold the bid as well. Underneath VWAP for now, but not looking horrible. Let me just go over and see, we already looked at, oh, you know what, we didn't have, I think maybe tomorrow maybe we have Mitch on, because we could ask him definitely Thursdays about SoFi, because this name again had a nice move up, now trying to come back in a little bit here, SoFi, and really barcoding in between this $18 to $19 range. So SoFi is a name that we could have a look here for sure today, SOFI. It looks like oil's trying to make a move back in. We're 50 cents in the money, who cares? We just lost $2. So we're looking to make a little bit more on that play if we can. Because we looked at SoFi, we might as well have a quick look at Robinhood as well. They were up pretty nicely earlier, yeah, and it faded back as well. So as this market comes back in, you can see a name like Robinhood also seeming like it wants to come back in just a bit. I still like Robinhood at these levels. And then, yeah, that was interesting. I did hear something about Meta as well, Adara, and the story, I guess, with Meta was that they were introducing some new chips or something. It doesn't seem to be.
I read it. It's going to be over the next 2 years, so there's nothing remotely immediate about it. But yeah, MTIA chips.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of an interesting spot there for Meta. So we can have a quick look. Not doing too much there as they talked about introducing some new chips there. So thank you, Adara, for all of that. And yeah, right now, man, we're just going to hold on and see what winds up happening right now with our most recent oil position. And I'm thinking about silver as well. I mean, I just think oil had its run up here. Let's see if it does make its move back in. Potentially not. We already have the high of the day there. 76.50, good low for silver, holding underneath VWAP as well. But I don't think this oil trade, man, I think we might just be kicking tires here. Big Bear AI up 6%. So we like that one for now, as Big Bear AI making moves higher. I'm just letting your Oracle kind of simmer over there. Have you been taking outs near the lows there?
No, I've just been taking ads. So yeah, no, I did talk about kind of how I want to get a little bit better at pyramiding, and I think I'm doing okay here. So kind of, you know, adding slowly into this as it kind of, you know, makes lower lows and lower highs as well. We're currently holding that. I want to see it get below VWAP. This it almost got to opening price, Sean. It got to 166.63s. And then bounces back up almost $1 there. So yeah, watching it closely here. Let's see if we can get back through open. But again, we sold off pretty aggressively from the highs, 170, 175 is the day high, and market pulling back as well. So market tailwind definitely on our side here. USO pulling back a little bit back into that 105 area, which again I guess continues to be a little bit interesting for me at the very least. Let's see what I guess Uber didn't really do too much other than pop and drop into some pre-market levels. So we can take a look at Uber as well here. All right, people talking about HIMS in the chat. Let's take a look at the HIMS right after this. But you can see Uber pops up on that news in the pre-market session. That's where it finds some resistance. Off the open, finds some resistance there. There were sellers there before. There's sellers there once again here on Uber. So HIMS, let's take a look at this one. Wow, no way, no way. Today was the day.
Today's
Come
the
on,
day, eh?
come on. But here's the thing. I took this opening drive, which was absolutely beautiful yesterday. But the drive today, a little bit more, I guess, nuanced than yesterday's push, but a strong bid nonetheless here. Pulls back, holds VWAP as well, 25. So prior day high is at 26. Don't forget, this is day 3 of the news now. So we got that leg consolidation, kind of a leg there. That's what I was looking for. Didn't really come in. Pulls back into those prior levels there, holding 22 halves. And then now today, absolute strength and some decent volume as well. Sustained volume, I guess, is a little bit better way to put it. There, sustained volume as it pushes up into its day highs here, 25.88s, printing fresh highs as we speak on him. So great look there. AMD weakening, saying DJK. Okay, so we can take a quick look at AMD here. Yeah, I guess it's made a high a day. It's made lower highs here, but still holding in and around that VWAP. I do want to see if we're looking for pullbacks on some of these tech names here. I want to watch this Nvidia here and that SMH at the same time. Sometimes you know, I've shown you guys what my tech splay is, where I look at Nvidia, AMD, Intel, SMCI, SMH. SanDisk, TSM, Micron, and ARM. Those are kind of like the stocks that I like to kind of watch and work with if and when they set up. As of right now, I see that Intel has absolute strength here, Sean. So INTC to the upside right here. Look at this, looking absolutely nothing like that of NVIDIA, and actually doing some relative volume. Look at that. Back up to 48.76 as we talk about this one being bigger picture. Remember that consolidation, and we saw
we asked
Brian Shannon yesterday. Was it the evening? I think so.
Yeah, he was here at 2:30.
Yeah. So in the evening, we talked to him, and he was like, "Look at the all-time anchored VWAP, and it just consolidated at the IPO for Intel." For about what, almost 7 months before continuing. That was absolutely beautiful there, and now we're seeing that stair step kind of it's in those consolidation boxes.
Yeah, the 40-year VWAP back to its IPO.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were talking about there. Yeah, oil finally starting to come back just a little bit there. I did hear Adair clapping. Are we going back to her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then let's go back over to Adair and see what she's up to for 10 news, I think, and 10:20 update.
No news, Sean. I was actually just clapping for that, the 40-year anchored VWAP, because I was right there with you when Brian Shannon brought that up on our market recap show. I want to talk about BATL, and I'm going to actually mention a couple of these oil energy-related small caps, because why not? BATL, Battalion Oil, EONR, Eon Resources. This one not doing too well. The other one that we've been seeing a lot of action on was TPET, Trio Petroleum. All of these are going to be on watch as we get more news with regards to energy. IEA, or the International Energy Agency, announcing they're going to be releasing 400 million barrels of oil to combat rising crude oil prices. The timing of this release is unclear, but it is going to be the largest in the agency's history, largest release rather. ASNS, just pulling back here from highs. This is a penny stock. It has rallied in the past and even pretty recently. Actelis Networks, roughly 8.5 million share float. Market cap just under $5 million, releasing orders from an unnamed Japanese government organization. So some organization within the Japanese government. And apparently the goal of these orders, I guess, is to provide dozens of units of their Metalite networking solution to said unnamed government organization. KALA, I remember Sean mentioning this one, Kala Bio. Apparently, they're trying to be the Palantir for biotech. They have a new AI platform that they think will help them achieve that. KALA does have a $400 million market cap, so much larger market cap than ASNS, given that they're both penny stocks. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow us on X at TTV Research. And we're going to go over to Sean and Obi.
Thank you very much, Dara. So Oracle kind of got back through its open, chopping around right now, doing a decent amount of volume there, expected. That's the opening price. A lot of interest definitely was there. That's where the bid came in. And anybody and everybody who was longing the open session is probably now a little bit, underwater. Below some of these prices, but expected, might get defended a little bit here. I'm watching it pretty closely to see if we get any sort of continuation there. USO still at 105, so I like that. But yeah, let me know in the chat, what are you guys talking about? Marvell first red day? Hello, okay, let's take a look at that real quick. MRVL, first red day, I guess, in how long?
Well, it's for the earnings since Thursday.
Thursday, okay. My browser's kind of laggy here. Okay, so almost. You can see we're not quite below day low, but we are below day open. So that seems interesting here. Let's take a look at the daily as well. I was going to say, first red day since earnings. Yeah, almost right there. But here's the thing. First red day, nice. But look at how these prior bars are holding on the daily. I like that as well. Prior day low is probably going to interest me a little bit more. That's sitting at 91.62s here on MRVL.
All right. I really like Marvell. We like Big Bear AI as well. That's up 4%, so we can see what's happening over on Big Bear AI today. This has been a good rebound name off of their earnings and off of their sort of low peaks of $4. So we can see now, if you bought the $4 low, that was pretty good there. We got a little lower last week into 380. That's off earnings, but holding $4 here yesterday, holding it a little bit here again today, and moving higher there. Damn it, man, I cannot believe the Nasdaq is now negative, as we did have. It's funny, man, I switched out of this and went into the short oil when it was short Nasdaq. That would have still played. So there it comes back in, man. Oil back up, Nasdaq back. Wow, shoot, man, that's too bad, because we did have a decent play on board right there. I see oil just like, we have oil release coming soon, so you can obviously see an upside play here happening right now for oil. I was just gonna give this to the top of 106 again. If we do wind up breaking it, then fine. We were able to actually, as we were talking, and, it does come right into VWAP, so we'll just try to reload what we did have right there. So a little bit of a stop out at the high, stop out there when we broke there. So 50 cents each stop right into there. But the trade, it didn't really, did have shares there, but it was more putting it on right there at 104. So that's why it was like about a $2 hit on the biggest, well, that was half and half. So $1.50, $2. So those hits came in, and then we were short at 105.40. And then we covered there at like 104.70s. We got some 104.60s there as well. But today is Wednesday, so we do have crude oil reserves numbers being released at 10:30. So that could spike or drop this market. And we do have our out. I'm just going to use this as our out again. And if we wind up losing $1 on this one, then we do. I'm going to give it a shot here. All these things, releasing of 400 million barrels, all these kind of notes today, I would have thought oil was going to the downside. But what I think doesn't matter. The market is clearly telling us that oil's upside. So congratulations to everybody that's been going long on oil, because I am not. I'm going short, and it's been bad on that one. So, all right, BATL. And I want to be able to hold it, because we do know that there are big moves in USO these days. And at 1 minute, you can go the other way. We have it defined out. So BATL down 7%, so that's working to the downside. XOM today, still hovering around this 151 area, right? I mean, it's a big move today. It's 147 was the low, 148 up to 151. So it's a nice little 2% day here for ExxonMobil. As I guess oil price is looking to stabilize a bit, and ExxonMobil, one of the best producers, we can see up 2% there. The Venezuela story is still getting lost in what's happening now here as well. So we still have a lot of oil coming out of that nation, and XOM and CVX, apparently the best positioned to take advantage of that, let alone what we're seeing in Iran right now. So 186 up to 189 CVX. Most of these names are near some of their highs. I know, Hamster. I mean, this is what I don't know if Trump's played his hand. I don't know what's been happening here, but all I know is I'm getting it handed to me on the oil short, and it could get spicy on oil. Yeah, for me, it's already very spicy right now on this, and we've lost a little bit too much on this trade here today as we try to go short on oil, which it does not look to be the right trade. The right trade is OB short on Oracle, so congratulations for that one. Yeah, so for right now, we just got to wait to see what happens. Hopefully I can hold out for 10:30, but it looks like we're going to run the top here on USO, OIH, all of them starting to go back up there to the upside as we follow the proper underlying asset here as oil bounces. It's just so crazy that I wrote down long 104 as we approach 106.50 here on USO. But there's oil making new highs right now of the session up to 86.50. So taking names and taking out levels here is crude today. Your Oracle's still underneath that 167.
Yeah,
all right.
It's kind of chopping. Like, it's still kind of struggling a little bit with this opening price, 166.50s-ish, keeps on getting chopped up. But you can see that market is really coming in pretty aggressively. ES almost about to come into those day lows right there. That's absolutely wild there. What's up, Adara?
I just want to let you guys know, nothing massive here, but keep an eye potentially on Taiwan Semi, because I am seeing some headlines about the U.S. and China and Taiwan, so I want to let you know that this is occurring. Global Times reporting that China's military tracked and monitored US P-8A patrol aircraft transiting Taiwan. So I guess there's been some monitoring there with U.S. transit within Taiwan. Again, kind of a vague headline, letting you guys know just with regards to TSM. If I see anything more here, I will keep you guys posted, including more details on the headline I just gave you. Back to you.
Yeah, some
minute and a half.
Chop happening.
Might not be able to hold out to this.
Minute and a half for
USO, but it's oil reserves. But I'm going to get stopped out, and then we'll have to react to the trade when it comes, because we're right now running the top of the day here on USO. So I do see the super chat in there. I want to thank you for it. Why did we go short when the trend broke on oil? I honestly thought like that the story was going to create more moves to the downside, right? I mean, we've sat here and we've talked about that a little bit here, right, over time. And then it came up into a level that honestly, and me and Obi sit here and we talk about like, where does technicals land when we're talking about oil? And I always said probably not that important, because right now we're so news-based. So I did trade it underneath VWAP here, but then it broke, it got going, and I was thinking about the day's high there. But since then, man, we really haven't been able to hold out for this, as it just keeps on moving higher. So I think you're 100% right there. You know, trading trends, and I said yesterday, the best thing for me to do would be to learn a little bit more on trend trading and stop fighting the trend all of the time. And that's just something that I need to work on. We still have our rules in place, and we still follow our line. Oh, there goes oil. Just ran 106.30, of course, my out. So let's go over to Adara as we've got these releases in 10 seconds. It looks like it's going to be better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to be giving you guys here. EIA crude oil inventories, 2.5 million. Forecast prior, 3.475 million. EIA gasoline inventories, negative 2 million is that forecast. Okay, so crude oil stock change coming in at positive 2.824 million. Again, forecast was positive 2.5 million. EIA gasoline inventories, that's going to be negative 3.654 million. Let's take a look here at USO. US oil, not reacting too much to this, kind of continuing to push higher. We'll send you back over to Sean and Obi.
All right, so it doesn't look like, thanks for the update there on oil. We got roasted on that one. So oil just straight upside today. We tried it, does not work. Oil right now upside. I see Oracle starting to go upside as well. As this market may have found a bottom again. I don't know. I'm not sure when to reshort this thing, and I probably won't do it. 3.824 million barrel build versus a 2.8 million barrel build estimate. So that's what we're talking about with crude. Distillates come out as well on a draw. So, but it's U.S. crude oil inventories, 382 versus 28 on the build side. So more oil out there than expected. And maybe now we start to go down. I mean, I'm going to short it now. Yeah, I'm going to put my hands up in the air and just wave them like I just don't care right now on oil, because we've been getting hit on that one. We're going to have a break lower now of the 200 period 105.50. If that breaks, then maybe we can re-engage for a short time. But for right now, let it just cruise higher, man. We've been trying to go short, just has not worked. $1.50 there, $2 hit there, and about $1 there, I guess, on the hit to the downside now for oil. So not great trading by me today. Much better by my guy over here, as Oracle still in the money for you. So I do like that.
It did pop up pretty aggressively there. And again, the market started printing a fresh 15-minute bar. I'm watching that as well. But yeah, pretty aggressive bid back into VWAP there for Oracle. But I guess still technically making lower highs and lower lows. So I think I did okay to add a little bit more on there into that push. Again, trying to get a little bit better at the whole pyramiding concept. I understand that if I'm using smaller structures, I might be getting stopped out here. But yeah, and that bid definitely came in of people just rushing into the ask. There was actually a buddy on Memex that got filled for 10,000 shares just in the lit market. I'm like, all right, let's see what we do after you get filled, and we just slap up another $1 there. I was like, yeah, that's an easy way to make a quick 10 G's right there on something like that, and get rebates for it as well. So that 167 to 168. Shout out to whoever that was. Again, I don't know if they're I don't know if they're selling more or doing whatever, providing liquidity. I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. But it's always interesting to see some of the price action that unfolds. Whoa, see, right back down into the lows right there.
Oh, Oracle white.
Of VWAP. That's what I'm saying. It was kind of unnatural. I've been staring this thing down, and I see it swipe up like that, and the market's pulling right back down as well. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to be a little patient. Yeah, it got right in the VWAP, and I kind of added there as well. Maybe that's the ad that I have to be a little bit more aggressive on. But again, every day is a learning opportunity here as we kind of try to piece more into this. This is back at that opening price. It's back at that opening price. It's been an exciting morning, Sean.
I cannot believe it's already 10:30.
We're having fun. Time goes by.
That is true. I'm not having fun.
Having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
From Arthur, by the way.
Is it okay? I need to get a library card right now. My kids like to go to the library. That is for sure. I'm beside myself that we're
since undergrad.
Oh man, you should go. Yeah, I don't know if there's any books in libraries anymore, though. That's the problem.
All my books are on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Look at the Nasdaq, man, bleeding to the downside. We did have that short, and I'm not having fun looking at that. That's for sure. And then oil, I was actually thinking about reshorting if we can actually break the trend back down through 105. But I was just looking at the time, man. It's almost 10:30 right here. Wow, we're getting really on in time right now. All right, let's see what else is going on right here in the market for you guys and what you want to talk about. Let's go over here and have a quick look at the visualizer. There he goes. Oracle takes 166 finally, so that's going to be a good one there. IREN, CoreWeave. Okay, CoreWeave on Nebius deal probably, right? That's up 10%. We can go check out NBIS and see what's going on over there. USO can go straight to hell. That's a nice move there. Up to 106, up 0.2%. Palantir kicking back down, 151. Is that right for Palantir? Oh, yeah, we actually had a bad day yesterday on PLTR, and it is did make a move up to 153 today, back down to 151. Tesla, the big one there, and you already mentioned HIM's up 11%, so that's going today as well. There's your Nebius. I know you were messing around with that in the pre-market. That's now up 16%. Wow. RDW, a name that we could possibly look at, that's up 4%. A lot of votes there. Silver, not too many. That's down 3%. Yeah, that's what you guys wanted us to talk about. IREN is a name that we haven't looked at in a minute, so let's have a quick look over there. As is Iris Energy, another way to play all this movement as well in the energy space. So up 10% as they've been getting hit too. Yeah, so you guys have brought this name to our attention a couple times, down into the 200 period moving average. IREN, possibly a great buy. The reason why I said, right there for that is because AVAV, that was a name there that, and I know it's, we talked about it. I have Big Bear AI, Neil's got this one. And what a move down, man. I was actually, wrote it down, not on this sticky note, but on another one to look at buying some AVAV today. And unfortunately, so did other people. That got down to 195, guys. earlier, and we actually zoomed out and we showed you that this was $200 marker, goes all the way back. Remember, that was to that May level. And yeah, right now, not doing the best is AVAV today, but wicked move off the open. So down 4.5% on earnings, not good. They missed top and bottom, but Aero Environment nicely back up 5%. USO, so I am gonna take a break of 105. We almost broke that. So I'm gonna go short here, and we're gonna see what we can get. We'll try a couple hundred shares, just see what winds up happening. Back down to the downside if we do break that. It looks like we didn't necessarily get stopped out at the top, but pretty close enough to that at 106.30 there. The high is 106.60. As now we get the release of the oil inventories. Build was higher than expected, so that's probably creating a little bit of a move down. But yeah, I might be losing the idea here with oil. I just feel like there is a potential move down, and I want to try it back to 106, but maybe we just leave oil alone and pick on something else. I mean, we've been really trading well on Palantir lately, and that dip just went into 151. That was your 200 period moving average. That was probably a decent buy opportunity down near those lows. Amazon also right here could be a trade. That was one that's made its move lower here, Amazon, and trying to find a bounce. What does this have to do with what does this have to do with yesterday, Amazon? And then we'll go back over to you, Obi, as I see Oracle's kind of doing the same thing. Yeah. I was looking at this level, so that was the level. It is indeed the level from yesterday, 213 to 1250 there on AMZN, a possible look in on Amazon there as well. So, yeah, and then unfortunately, guys, we did have IBIT there today. It does make a move down. Yeah, this name could break out through 71,000. I'm just a little frustrated there because we should have traded oil a little better, but we'll be back. Well, we're still here. That's that. You've only looked at one name, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
you don't need more than one.
Exactly. It's, you hear this in the trading world. Shout out to Mr.
We're short USO.
Bella Fury there. You only really need one good trade, right?
Jeez,
I mean, I wouldn't call this one good trade, but it's an one okay trade.
One trade idea.
One trade idea, and I was just like, all right, well, let me try to catch the. I mean, the opening drive was nice as well, right? We can go to the 1 minute chart. I covered a decent chunk here because I'm like, okay, well, if you're gonna crack this and kind of stall in here, I'll take some off here. I guess the only piece I really have left is this most recent one that I added underneath this 168. Again, not enough of an add there. I think, but I did okay. It's not like we talk about trying to pyramid, but it's not necessarily like a perfect pyramid. I should be, I'm chasing into here. This is not really part of the pyramiding, but I should be here. I should be here. I should be here. I see I don't have an add here, that's an issue. That's okay. That's a bit of a chase to the downside. Wow, there it is. 165s and some change. I definitely covered a decent chunk of my position all into here. Boom, 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 boom. Which is like, again, that's not necessarily what's happening here. Here, so I guess. It's like zoomed in, so that's why on the screen. That's why I was like, "What's going on there?" So here, I'll just keep it in here, so we can kind of take a look at it a little bit better. But I did. So one of the rules for the pyramiding is like you have to you trail your stop down. So it's like if I'm actually trailing, this was the most recent significant pop. So I should be stopping out at 168.80s, right? And then after this happened, I should be stopping out at 168.30s. No reason to even take profits here, right? Sure, maybe it might have gotten to target, which can be the opening price or the day low right there. And that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, well, we got to day low, we got to target, but at the end of the day, the target sometimes like I come up with that price. That's all on me. And what I think really doesn't matter. The market, if the market's showing me that there's no reason to cover, there's no reason to buy, why am I buying? Right? That's, again, just me speaking to myself as like, this is not necessarily the ideal way to do this, but we try to get a little bit better every single day. There's that 165 crackdown. So GG's on that one. What's up, Adara?
I can tell you what's not up, Obi, and that's actually a lot of sectors in this market. Communications sharply to the downside. I think this is the second day in a row that we've had this. T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T all down at least 1%, and notably more than 2% for TMUS and T. Non-energy minerals weak, commercial services largely weak, consumer services weak. Utilities has some, spots of weakness, notably CEG and Vistra, both down pretty sharply. These are like the kind of, data center type plays in the utility space. So them being red is significant here, guys. Consumer non-durables also red. Health tech red. Finance red. More concerns here about private equity and some of these limits there with regards to private credit. Retail trade is going to be red. And you have some, smatterings of green across this board. Energy minerals, of course, very, very strong. More ongoing geopolitical uncertainty when it comes to the situation in Iran. Consumer durables really strong as well. Uber with its Zoox AV news. Nice look for a UBER, one of the lone bright spots in this transportation sector. And then you've got these tech sectors. You've got electronic technology, NVIDIA, Micron, Intel, AMD, all spots of green. AMD, I think maybe the most notable here in terms of a catalyst. CEO Lisa Su reportedly set to meet with Samsung next week, March 18th. So that's going to be on watch. Tech services, you do have a lot of weakness or names that are flat, but then you've got Oracle up 10% in earnings day one, though. As you know from OB short, they have declined quite a lot from that high. And Google also up today. So it is kind of a weaker or mixed look, but that doesn't mean there aren't areas that are strong. Back to you. Also look at Thermo Fisher at 2 p.m. because Trump's visiting them.
Okay, TMO, good little look there. So we'll look at TMO tonight. 2 p.m. So good little look there, Dara. I didn't know that. So that could be a good look as well. I'm bidding some mid 60s here just to take a little bit out. We're only short here at the 80s on oil. It's finally we got a little bit of a winner here. I'll take a little bit out, but we're just trying to scalp out. Like we said, we weren't starting it with a huge amount of shares or anything like that, but we are making a move back in. So we'll capture something down here, hopefully a little lower into the 50s. We just bounced. I just put a bid at 57 there. I don't know if we spiked that up or not, but there it goes, making a move back in. Hopefully is oil. It looks like it's trying to, shit, man, we can't even get it to go lower. Trying to bounce off of, okay, here we go. I'm at 57. Hopefully that it should print, right? We're 2 cents lower. There it is. Okay, good. So now we're starting to make moves back in here on USO. So we'll be able to hold just a little bit. This was that move that we had liked. Comes right back into 106. That punch in was a little early. We did talk about that. Our average price is 93s. So we're 50 cents in the money now as it's coming back in. I'll bid a little bit more here. I don't want to be like just covering because we did take a hit, obviously, on the way back up. But in getting back to schedule programming here, I'm a much better, obviously, at scalping than at holding for longer periods. You can see Obi over there has sort of broken down his strategies for holding, and I commend him for the stuff that he's doing over there. It looks great, Obi. And here we go. Let's go, man. Maybe we're getting a little lower now. We just punched out a little bit more here in the 30s. We'll do a little bit more again as it's coming back. So we'll go 60 cents in the money here on, again, just couple of shares, and we'll see if we get lower on this one. And we're not going to make everything back, but we're back in the money. We made back 35% of what we lost so far. Not great, but down into 105. That is your 50-period moving average right there. VWAP would be a nice take for us. So let's put a bid in and around here, and then we can see if we can let it settle, man, and see if we get a little lower. Maybe there's a move, but we're making back a little bit of that sloppy trading earlier as finally we have reasons to go short there after the release. But it looks like now the market wants to go back up, bouncing cleanly off the 50-period moving average. We did get out of 40% there. So as I said, made back a little bit, but still not the greatest stock. I heard call for Adair. Let me know when we're ready. Tesla's still up 3%. So let's go over and see what Adair is saying.
I do have oil to talk about here. So CNN reportedly told by a source, I guess, on the ground that Iran is now actually laying those mines in that vital waterway in the Strait of Hormuz. So again, Iran now, we've heard reports they were going to lay the mines or they were going to start planning on laying the mines. And now they are reportedly actually, taking the effort to lay said mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Also, Associated Free Press reporting that Emmanuel Macron, who is the leader of France, has asked the G7 to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz ASAP. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say no. Be like, of course, I'm short oil, and the news we go to Adara is, yeah, they're laying the mines. So that's not good, but we'll cover a little bit more here as we get going on. Oops, that's still Tesla. As we get going back up to the upside, just a couple more covers at 50s right there as we blew through. So 52s and I think maybe even 48s or something. So a couple covers there on US. So we're basically into half now left. So we cover that 10% on that little story. I wouldn't be surprised if oil rips on something like that, but we still have our outs and we are covering on that kind of news. So not a great trade there for oil so far today, but we're going to hold on to this short and see if it wants to go. That's USO. Someone in the chat there. Adobe, HIMS, yeah, what's up, Mac? Wow. Adobe reports tomorrow, maybe a name we could look at, definitely on the midday, or we'll look at it too. HIMS now up 15%. What a good story from HIMS on the weekend there, getting it all figured out with Novo Nordisk. Looks like their products are going to be back available. And here goes HIMS right there back up to the upside. A short float, definitely player here. And it just keeps on going. So early take in the pre-market, nice little level right there. And now we're getting higher into 27, trying to break long on HIMS. It looks like you guys have got that one right as it's going upside now on HIM to the S. Ms. Adara, again, what you got in your mind?
Yeah, guys, I have some other tickers you could potentially look at with regards to that story that I reported. And again, that is CNN saying that Iran has started laying these mines in the waterway by the Strait of Hormuz. Another way to play this could be some of these deep sea mining plays like OPTT and KITT. KITT we did discuss yesterday. Nauticus Robotics. OPTT is another small cap name that's rallied in the past. Ocean Power Technologies, both of them getting at least a little bit of a lift on this catalyst if I get more. I will keep you posted. Back to you.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
All right, man. Your Oracle's almost out.
Yeah, I'm pretty much out of more than 90% of it right here on that 165. Just holding on to that last breadcrumb to see if it actually does anything. Anything else? Not really concerned about the rest of it. But yeah, you can see here comes into some of these lows. The market's kind of bouncing off that 25K as well. Once again, a lot of chop and orbit around that 25K. But NBIS is the one that I want to talk about right now, as you can see how cleanly it's holding up off of its prior lows, right? So I like to throw on that anchored as well. It's probably going to be in and around the same place as VWAP, but let's throw one on off of the open because we're actually doing some volume, and you can consider that a bit of an event as well, and get rid of this one because that's the same as whenever you got news in the morning. The anchored VWAP tends to be relatively similar, around the same price or around the same areas as the actual VWAP on the day. It's the overnight session ones and the higher time frame ones that probably are going to differ the most there. But you can see how well it's been holding up on pullbacks. Now, I traded this a little bit in the pre-market session, and it was a little choppy. That 105, there was a lot of size at 105, and I guess that got taken. Whoever sat on the bid at 105s, I bet they're kind of laughing right there as we pulled all the way up to 112s, 114s.
That's crazy.
At the highs here. Again, they had news this morning with a deal with NVIDIA. But right now, I think we got some news with Adara.
Keep an eye here on SYK. Looks like I've seen over the last 30 minutes, I've been seeing some reports here. I just saw one headline, so I looked further into it. Looks like this has been going on for about 30 minutes. But SYK trading sharply lower. Reportedly, according to Wall Street Journal, they were hit with a suspected Iran-linked cyber attack. So Wall Street Journal reporting that SYK has been hit with a cyber attack suspected to be linked to Iran. Staff apparently found remote devices running Microsoft Windows were wiped. So keep an eye here in SYK. Also seeing some comments from Maersk with regards to shipping. So, maybe I guess if you're looking at some of these logistics plays, you could keep an eye on this. But tons of Middle East news, even tangentially involving SYK here. Back to you.
We're going to look at that. Job with that one. Okay, we did take a little bit more there. Now it's breaking through, and we did average it back out at 75. We took some O's out at some 75s. Now we're starting to go to the downside again and blasting back up there. We're still going to wait for that stop out. We only have half our position back on this trade right now, so it looks like we might just go flat on this one as we do wind up taking a decent winner on the downside there, but bouncing right off 105.50. So Yeah, not great action here for the oil trade for me today anyways. All right, so Amazon, we said it was a nice little bottom there. That 151 on Palantir seems to have been a holding spot there on PLTR. Let's let oil settle out and just figure out what's for lunch, and then we'll get back to this trade here. Because honestly, Obi, you had mentioned time goes by when you're having fun.
Yes.
Not having that much fun, but the time is definitely going by. I'm playing around, I'm having a good time. All right, March the 11th today. All right, let's go. It was, to Sharif's delight and all of our delight, I think, eggs this morning, just hard-boiled eggs. So I heard Joe say the other day, at least it's real eggs, and I think that's good. Or is it? I mean, they could be genetically modified.
They're all
there, but I guess you can't win with losing these days. Okay, here we go, man. Yesterday, I've never had piri-piri chicken that tasted nothing like piri-piri before. That was really, really interesting. I didn't feel like there was no spice on that, but it was pretty good, though. I don't want to throw shade at it. Just the spicing was not the greatest there yesterday as far as piri-piri is concerned. Good one. And I said to Sharif and Sharif's like, you know what, man, the protein's actually been pretty solid. They do give you a decent amount, and hard to complain today with my trading. I think I owe the caterers today money. All right, grilled Brazilian pork. Oh, the flag is Brazilian. Okay. Sorry to ruin that a little bit there. But we've never had this before. Grilled Brazilian pork. Interesting. Chopped salad. So I don't know what that's going to be like. Roasted vegetables, roasted potatoes. Ooh. So, I don't know.
I like that. You know the mini potatoes.
I love the mini. Those are my favorite.
Those are so good. They're
all you can do. You can roast those or boil those. That's it. A little bit of butter. Sprinkle some salt and pepper. Chef's kiss. That's a good one, Obi. Thanks for bringing that up. Made my mood better there. But yeah, no, good times abound for that today. Grilled Brazilian pork, chopped salad, roasted veg, roasted potato. I don't think Assassino's going to think this is truly Brazilian food, but that's okay. He can maybe have a look at it and have a look. He can give a visual. He was just saying that pescatarian is Andre. So although from Brazil, enjoying that fish from the sea. And why not, man? If you're in Brazil, man, take advantage of what's fresh around there. That is for sure. But okay, so that's what's for lunch. Yeah, Palantir not really doing a whole heck of a lot. We'll sit in this oil trade till we're stopped out of it, which is the high of the day, 106.60. Sorry, that's PLTR, but this is USO right here. We just covered a little bit more, actually, at 75 again right there. That's 77. But that's the look right now. We just shorted O's out a little bit. We're kind of in scalp mode, but we are definitely aware of this top eventually breaking out. So we'd like to take, instead of just taking 40 cents or 30 cents on these trades, we'd like to take at least 1-to-1 there, which would be 60s. So we need this to get back to that 105.60 area to make a little bit of money on this one. Okay, Obi's flat. I'm only in this name, and Adara's got something else for us.
It involves talking, and it does involve the cash money, as I overheard Sean say as he threw it over. Let's talk about the U.S. dollar, because, again, this is uptrend in the daily chart. Just super clean. We did, of course, have these 2 days now of resistance at that 99.7 level, so that's still going to be a level for the DXY to clear, but we're right now poised for our second straight green day. When you guys hear these big oil stories, as Sean has mentioned many times, and for good reason, keep an eye on DXY as well, because it can sometimes move on these types of catalysts. We did get some economic data today. It was kind of a snoozer, nothing super exciting. CPI month over month and year over year, as well as core CPI month over month and year over year. All these prints exactly dead on, in line with estimates. Though, again, as we were expecting, core CPI month over month actually down compared to last month. But once again, we were expecting that. So nothing super shocking or out of the ordinary. Now on Friday, I have to prepare you guys. We don't have one economic data release. We don't have two. We don't have three. We have four major economic data releases on Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. PCE and GDP at 10 a.m. JOLTS job openings and University of Michigan consumer sentiment. It's going to be a big one. Make sure to join us on Friday morning and also every day and all of our shows, because lots to keep an eye on here. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, like we talked about the CME FedWatch tool yesterday. Traders really not pricing in that cut. CPI data today not really likely to change that. Back to you.
Thank you. you very much, Dara. Yeah, no, I'm just out of that Oracle there. So we did kind of pull back into 165. Didn't really, no real like capitulation or anything down there, but I'm just like, all right, it's getting a little bit extended. I'm almost thinking about that, reversion back up as well. And again, we talk about preparation. Guess where it bounces off of? It bounces off of that earnings reaction high from last night. This was the ultimate high at 164.50s. And I'm like, okay, watching it. Maybe I should be watching a little bit closer because guess what? That's also a pull into the anchored VWAP from earnings, which is sitting exactly at 165.05. So again, a bit of a fumble, covering a little bit too much at 166s. And not really kind of observing some of the stuff that I've already kind of put on here. But 165, as you can see, that anchored held pretty well as we're catching a bid right back in. And does it confluence with the market? Absolutely it does. The market's been catching a bid for the past two 15-minute candles with only about a few more minutes left on this one. So prior highs right here at 168.38. Again, solid opportunities on this one. The opening drive was where it was at 166.62s or 166.67s, pre-market highs. Sure, we pull back into 165.65s. It's about $1 down, but you got to understand with the way it was moving like crazy both ways, sometimes you got to be like, all right, I'm going to risk about $1. I'm going to risk about a point on this. Or if you want to go with percentage of ATR, is which I kind of like to do for sure. This is what that $1 is well within the percentage of ATR I want to kind of give this on the day today, especially with the kind of relative volume that it's doing. And you saw me kind of do that on the way up when I started sizing in a little bit lightly and then got a lot more aggressive incrementally as we did start to get the backside back in here on Oracle. So great trade both ways, I would say. We'll see how much this can bid back up into some of these prior highs there. I guess back through open was a good trade here as well. 166.40s that we talked about. Nice little push back into VWAP, but it seems like we've been continuing. There it is, another lower high. So maybe a potential to reload. I don't know. My continuation playbook definitely needs a little bit of work, but I do like the way some of the reversion playbook nuanced reversion playbooks are working here on the day for me at least. So where is the next trade? That's what I'm asking. Guess what? Something that is potentially setting up for some sort of reversion is no other than hims and hers. Day 3 push on this one. 27.12s is the day high on this. I don't know if I have to borrow shares on this one just yet, but I can figure that out in a few more minutes. But him's definitely looking good there. Campbell's CPB. Yeah. This was the one. This was the one to get short off of. I mean, even if in the morning I was like, yeah, that soup is doing absolutely nothing. But guess what? It does start to do something once you start breaking opening range low. You start breaking some of this consolidation from the pre-market. Look at that continuous selling and with expanding volume. So that's even better. So talk about a beautiful sell-off here on Campbell's. And we kind of talked about this yesterday where it's just like some of these opportunities that are really good are probably in places where not a lot of people are looking, but enough people because it is doing relative volume. So there's definitely traders that are on this on the day today, just not me there. But if I'm watching multiple different things, Campbell's, it's on my display. I almost want more screens. Because I'm like, I got to switch between screens. Because I got this.
You have some empty spots up there.
That's because this goes there.
Yeah, okay.
Right? We got the chat up there. Got 2 charts up there. I have 8 charts here. I have 2 main charts that I trade on, plus the Nasdaq and the ES. And then I got my books and L2s on this side. And I got my Discord open. I got my X open. I definitely need like 2 more screens just for charts. So I can have that market perspective being like, all right, this is in play. Where's the next trade? Boom, boom. I don't know.
No, I think sometimes you get a little
more screens.
Yeah, you should. I don't know if there was any space around here for that. Yeah, we could put one on the roof. Yeah, for sure, on the ceiling. All right, thanks so much, man. It's 11 o'clock. What a great show we've had so far here today. Oil's not really doing a whole heck of a lot right now, so we'll hold on to this and see if there is a downside push. Looks like it's trying to happen right now for us. We're short at 106.10 right here on USO, looking for lower, of course. And we'll see if we can get it. But good show so far, Obi. We're back at 2 p.m. We've got the midday ready to rock and roll for you. I heard Sharif talking about hymns, so we'll see a little bit of that trading happening there as well today. A couple other names, ASNS, and a few different names that they will talk about. Make sure you do get the votes in the chat. And great short there, obviously, on Oracle, as Oracle's not breaking
right
low
back
again.
Lower
here for
could
Oracle.
Be the gift that keeps on giving.
It might be the gift that keeps on giving. We all know Adara's opinion on Oracle as well. So, all right. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back at 2 p.m. All right, let's go. There it is.